And you look happy to me. Oh, we're live already?
Yes, we are. I was
Well,
just going to let you keep singing as long as you wanted to.
that's fun. Yep.
Hey, tick tock, time to rock. How's everyone doing all over the world? AP.
Yes, IP.
You you heard of this Mohammed Hijab fellow?
Who?
Mohammed
Oh,
Hijab.
yes, I did. I did. I became aware of him earlier when Piers Morgan tweeted some nasty things about him, which was very, very rude.
Yeah, so everyone, we are going to be going through as much of the new debate between Mohammed Hijab and Alan Dershowitz as we can get through. I have not watched it. I have not watched any of it. Um, but I made some predictions. Anyway, we'll get to that in a couple minutes. We're just going to give people a couple minutes to see that we're live and stuff so they can click on it. We got a couple of other things we can do here at the beginning before we get started on the epic debate. So, AP,
Yes.
you heard of this Netanyahu guy?
Oh, yeah, the one guy who was in charge of the one state that is controlled by the Jews.
Yeah, so he had a message for Lebanon. It's crazy because every time I watch one of his messages, it's always like, hey guys, if you let the people who want to attack us, that's not good for you. It's not good for you. So it's in your best interest if you don't let them do that to your country, because it's going to be your country that suffers. And every time it is. And you have all these terrorist groups, and they go and they keep messing with Israel, and then Israel finally responds, and then all these other places go, "What? Look what they're doing to this poor innocent nation." It's like, hey, poor innocent nation, you had all the time in the world to not be on the side of these terrorist groups. And Lebanon, of course, is in a different situation from Gaza in the sense that you do have people who really, really, really do not like Hezbollah there, but they will also suffer the consequences if Hezbollah keeps it up. Anyway, Netanyahu had his message to the people of Lebanon. So, guys, we are about to watch a debate. We're just giving people a few minutes to join in, and we're covering a couple of the things that are trending today.
This is a message to the people of Lebanon. Do you remember when your country was called the Pearl of the Middle East?
I remember that.
I do.
I do too.
So what happened to Lebanon? A gang of tyrants and terrorists destroyed it. That's what happened.
Ooh. What he's actually trying to say is Islam
right.
took over.
Yep. Hey, do you remember when a bunch of freaking jihadis did not control massive parts of that country? That's back when it was really cool place, wasn't it? Jihad just seems to ruin everything, AP. It just ruins everything it touches.
Jihad is kind of bad. Jihad is kind of bad. The good news is, I don't know if you've seen the news earlier today as you're playing this, but so this came out, and then later during the day, the Hezbollah deputy, something in charge, made a statement saying that that Hezbollah is, or that he, in as a representation of Hezbollah, supports talks with Israel for an unconditional ceasefire. So
Wait, who said that?
the some Hezbollah deputy leader in charge right now, and I forgot what his name is,
Did
but
he
he
now?
said it earlier. It took them 2 weeks to go from shouting and being, oh, we're strong, we're gonna finish Israel, bring them to their knees.
And
And I was
imagine
like,
if Iran joins the fight,
yeah.
and also bombs them. Oh.
And now they say, actually, how about we talk about this whole ceasefire option one more time?
Yeah, because guys, I mean, people don't understand the psychological impact of getting your entire leadership exterminated in like 5 seconds. Because I mean, think if you're Hezbollah, you're around a bunch of other Hezbollah guys, and you're always you're looking around, and you're training with these guys, and you're doing target practice and weapons practice, and you got all this stuff. We got all these rockets. Oh, we got these tanks and so on. We're so strong. What's going to happen? You're looking around saying, wow, we are really, really stacked here. We have got some serious firepower. I think we can take these guys now. All right, let's go ahead and... Wait, what? They did what? They blew all our balls off? I'm the only one left that's got a pair of balls here because everyone else's balls got blown off and all our leaders were killed? Huh.
Beast.
Okay, maybe we're not as tough as we thought we were, and maybe that's not going to go the way we thought. So, hey, let's have some talks. Israel talks about a ceasefire, because we are realizing we need to be way more powerful than we were to pull this off. So you got
Because
that.
they went from they said they will only stop firing at Israel and will do a ceasefire once Israel stops their operation in Gaza. So this is our condition: Israel must stop Gaza, otherwise we will never stop. And now they're saying, actually, forget about Gaza. How about let's just do ceasefire?
Okay, we take it back, man.
It was just we were just kidding.
We take back our conditions. New conditions. Stop blowing our balls off. Just stop. We'll do anything you want. Just don't blow our balls off.
It's so dumb, man. What were they even expecting? It's just so ridiculous. Every single time they think they actually have the strength, and as soon as the other side responds, they're like, oh, please.
Lebanon was once known for its tolerance, for its beauty. Today, it's a place of chaos, a place of war. Israel withdrew from Lebanon 25 years ago. But the country that actually conquered Lebanon is not Israel. It's Iran. Iran, which finances and arms Hezbollah to serve Iran's interests at Lebanon's expense. Hezbollah has turned Lebanon into a stockpile of ammunition and weapons and a forward Iranian military base.
That's what they do.
He's always pretty darn commonsensical, isn't he? He gets to the point and he breaks it down really simply so that any person, hey, guys, Lebanon was great. It's not anymore. Now it really, really is divided and sucks pretty hard. So what happened? Iran. That's what happened. They use Lebanon now as a base to attack Israel, and they're making us come back come at Lebanon. Very, very simple to understand. Do you want this?
Well, this is the problem with Netanyahu. He easily makes sense, and this is not something that you usually want to do.
Yeah.
Just one day after the October 7th massacre a year ago, Hezbollah joined the war against Israel. It launched an unprovoked attack on our cities and on our citizens. It has since fired over 8,000 missiles at Israel, killing civilians without distinctions: Jews, Christians, Muslims, and Druze.
He said 8,000. He's on the lower end. So he's giving the careful estimate. I've seen much higher estimates.
Israel has decided to put an end to this. We've decided to do whatever is necessary to return our people safely to their homes.
Up to and including blowing lots of testicles off.
Israel has a right to defend itself. Israel also has a right to win.
Wouldn't it be funny if he just kept tossing that around? Israel has a right to blow your testicles off if you keep firing rockets at us. We have a...
If you don't stop, we will come for your balls.
That should be like the motto. There should be signs. There should be signs everywhere. They should leave posters and stuff like that everywhere they go. We're Israel. If you attack us, we're coming for your testicles. That's how you do it. That's psychological
And Israel
warfare.
will win. We've degraded Hezbollah's capabilities. We took out thousands of terrorists, including Nasrallah himself, and Nasrallah's replacement, and the replacement of his replacement. Today, Hezbollah is weaker than...
That's funny.
That is brutal.
I didn't watch. I only watched a little part of this, but that's pretty brutal. They took out him and his replacement, and the replacement of the replacement. Now we can't find the replacement of the replacement of the replacement.
That's pretty humiliating.
That's pretty based.
Many, many years. Now you, the Lebanese people, you stand at a significant crossroads. It is your choice. You can now take back your country. You can return it to a path of peace and prosperity. If you don't, Hezbollah will continue to try to fight Israel from densely populated areas at your expense. It doesn't care if Lebanon is dragged into a wider war.
They do not care.
Christians, Druze, Muslims, Sunnis, and Shiites All of you are suffering because of Hezbollah's futile war against Israel. Today I ask every mother and every father in Lebanon a simple question. Is it worth it? Because it doesn't have to be that way.
Doesn't have to be.
I know you want a better future for your children. So I'm speaking to all of you today. There is a better way for your children, for your cities, for your villages, for your country. You deserve to restore Lebanon to its days of tranquility. You deserve a Lebanon that is different. One country, one flag, one people. Don't let these terrorists destroy your future any more than they've already done.
This is like rhetorically brilliant, man. It's rhetorically brilliant. It starts off, hey, some of you are old enough to remember when Lebanon was like this great, awesome, beautiful place. You go back to biblical times, they're always like praising Lebanon and the cedars of Lebanon and stuff like this. And like Song of Solomon is like, and she looked like, she's like Lebanon and so on. And now, not so much. What happened? So he presents, hey, this is the awesome place that you can remember. Why is it not like that anymore? Is it us? No, it's Iran. That's what happened. So there's the problem, and you've got terrorists there. You can't win, so don't think, oh yeah, but we'll go along with the terrorists and then we'll beat Israel. There's no scenario where you defeat us. Therefore, you're just about to get blown to bits unless something changes. And I'm guessing he's going to have the solution here at the end of the video.
Well, that's the thing with Netanyahu. Say whatever you want about him, agree with him, disagree with him. He has always been known for being a great speaker,
phenomenal,
and thereby winning people over.
Phenomenal. And again, we've seen people in Israel who can't stand it. So I have no idea about his politics, or he could be the worst politician in the world. I don't know. As far as I can rate him on his speaking ability, his communication ability, the guy is top notch, top drawer.
Stand up and take your country back. You have an opportunity that hasn't existed in decades. An opportunity to take care of the future of your children and grandchildren. You have an opportunity to save Lebanon before it falls into the abyss of a long war that will lead to destruction and suffering like we see in Gaza. It doesn't have to be that way. Each of you can take a step for your future, even a small step. You can make a difference. I say to you, the people of Lebanon, free your country from Hezbollah so that this war can end. Free your country from Hezbollah so that your country could prosper again, so that future generations of Lebanese and Israeli children will know neither war nor bloodshed, but will finally live together in peace.
Call to action. Pretty basic.
Here's my problem with this speech. It is a brilliant speech. It is wonderful. It is fantastic. It is absolutely what lots of people think, what I think, what people need to hear. However, does it really reach those very people that it is supposed to reach? Those people who actually are supporters of Hezbollah, those people who give Hezbollah power in Lebanon. It will reach Christians in Lebanon, but they already agree with him. It will reach Sunnis in Lebanon. Half of them already somewhat agree with him. It will reach the Shia in Lebanon, and they will just say, shut up, who are you to talk about? Hezbollah will kill you. We are behind Hezbollah. No matter how many of our balls you blow off, we have more balls. That's what the Shia population will respond with. So it is a little bit difficult.
Yeah, I think it's just if you think like what is something like that meant to achieve? You do have enough people in Lebanon to mount a serious resistance against Hezbollah and so on. It's just, do you want to do that? Do you want to start tangling with Hezbollah and then you're a target of Hezbollah too? I think that message is meant for those kinds of people. Like, hey, if you're in a position where you can do anything to hinder these guys, that's in your best interest. And even if it's going to cause you some problems, not nearly as bad as them turning your entire country into a war zone. So it's better to take the difficult, uncomfortable steps now to take back your country from these guys than to try and do that later when your country is massive portions of your country are piles of rubble. With that said, I do not anticipate enough people will listen to that advice. But based on what you said, looks like Hezbollah is already rethinking their course of action in the world. We had, where is it? We had our good friend Abu Bakr, Puff Daddy, bringing up the very next clip before we jump into the debate. So we'll just go through these super chats real quick to get down to that comment, because he actually introduced the next clip I have. He humiliated Dershowitz and Piers Morgan, those weaklings, you see? We know that happened. We already knew that happened because it's a job. We know that's the only thing that happens. Also, you guys should watch the JBP interview with Naftali Bennett.
Oh.
He has, Jordan Peterson has some interesting stuff coming up, because he just had something with Richard Dawkins and Cosmic Skeptic and so on. So, yeah, we'll have to check out the Jordan Peterson page and see what's going on over there.
Apparently, they had a discussion, Jordan Peterson and Richard Dawkins, and he invited Alex O'Connor, Cosmic Skeptic, as moderator. So that's
about as balanced and cool and smart a guy as you could find for a moderator. Yeah. So I look forward to that from every perspective.
Seems very based.
Another brick in the Kaaba. Hey, Prophet, leave them kids alone. Like your Canadian accents, guys, but Arabic #1 fun. Okay, and here we go. Here's the comment about Canada. AP, you threw shade at Canadians during last night's live stream, eh? But official opposition leader, conservative Pierre Poilievre, I had to find a place that pronounced his name. I'm still getting it wrong, but apparently they don't pronounce the re at the end. Don't know why they put it on there. Extra letters, pointless letters. Just stop it. Stop it. Stop it. People would take you more seriously, French and Canadian people, if you didn't do that. But Pierre Poilievre says, if Israel takes out Iran's nuke capability, that'd be a gift to the world. So I wanted to get to this just because we're going to check out that video clip. Let me see who this guy is.
I don't have any problem with Canadians. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
with French, there is a thing. At the end of it, if there is a vowel, you usually leave it out unless it has a little line on top of it. That's what I learned.
So yeah, we have no problem with Canadians, our Canadian neighbors to the north. They can sit around at Tim Hortons chugging gallons of maple syrup all day long, going, hey, hey, hey. That's fine with us. Pierre Poilievre, Depardieu croissant, is a Canadian politician who has served as the leader of the Conservative Party of Canada and the leader of the official opposition since 2022. He has been a member of parliament since 2004. I don't know how accurate Twitter is, because Twitter is, people can say whatever they want on Twitter. I have seen people saying that this guy might be the next prime minister or something like that. But let's go ahead and check out what he said. So he apparently said that it would be good if Israel took out Iran's nuclear capabilities. And then a reporter wanted to expose him for this and call him out to show what a problem this guy is. But let's go ahead and check out what he said.
Yesterday you said that you endorse Israel proactively defending itself by hitting Iran's nuclear sites, which is something that President Joe Biden does not endorse. Do you not feel like this could lead...
You're not on the same side with Joe Biden?
I feel like this could lead to a likelihood of an all-out conventional war between Iran and Israel, and
What did she say? Hey, she just said that if Israel takes out Iran's nuclear facilities, this could lead to a conventional all-out war, like armies marching against each other. I'm going to have to show this chick a map here in a second to show why that's not going to happen. But
could lead to a likelihood of an all-out conventional war between Iran and Israel. And do you not agree with Joe Biden and his assessment?
Do you not
agree with Joe Biden?
Do you not agree with Joe Biden's teleprompter? And whatever they typed on it, whatever the mystery person who controls the teleprompter put on his teleprompter, do you agree with that?
As a conservative right-wing politician, do you not agree
Canada,
with Joe Biden?
How could you go against the intellectual and political powerhouse that is the American president right now.
I think the
Wait, what?
It's kind of funny. The being anti-war and anti-intervention is supposed to be kind of this conservative right-wing position right now, but it is this for some reason these liberal progressives at the moment think that you should just not in any way provoke those people like Iran and others that explicitly and openly again and again say that they want to arm themselves further in order to, in the future, destroy certain Western nations and Israel. It's like it's such a pathetic response from the West when they say, "Oh, maybe we should not escalate." It's like the whole appeasement policy with Hitler.
Yeah, guys, there are certain people you do not play around with. Like even with Iran, you see these Western politicians are like, hey, if we give you billions and billions and billions of dollars, will you promise not to make nuclear weapons? And they're like, sure, just keep giving it, which means it's in Iran's best interest to constantly be threatening about creating nuclear bombs and to always have nuclear bombs, building projects at the ready and so on, so that we just keep handing them billions and billions of dollars. That's not how you deal with certain. There's only a couple places in the world that are like as screwed up and psychotically dangerous as Iran. You basically got Iran and North Korea. That's it. That's the cream of the crop of the most messed up, evil places on the planet. You don't give them billions of dollars to not build nuclear weapons. You say to them as nicely as possible, look, live your lives, do whatever you want. But if you even look like you're building a nuclear bomb or anything nuclear, I don't care what it is. I don't care what it is. If we even think something is a nuclear facility, we're bombing it. If we think you've got a nuclear facility underground, if we see something going on underground, we're going to frickin' bomb it. And we're going to do that every single day. Other than that, we're not going to mess with you. We're not going to mess with you. We'll deal with your terrorist groups and stuff like that. But that, nope, not happening. Bombing you down to nothing. That should be any nation's position, even if they don't want to get involved in other ways with Iran. That's like non-negotiable there.
Look what Israel did. It's just perfect. Iran was like, if you attack the Hezbollah leadership directly, then we will jump in. We will not tolerate this. And Israel just said, no, LOL. Just went ahead and killed them all.
Yeah, and so listen to what this journalist is doing. This reporter's doing. So she wants us. Your goal as a reporter, if you don't like this guy, is to point out future division. Right? Hey, Canadians. The American president. They don't want that. They're not advocating this. Are we going to be, is Canada going to be more violent than the U.S. and have all these problems with the possible next administration as well? This could be coming. We could have Canadians and the U.S. is all fighting over this stuff. No. Do not go with this guy. Listen to this warmonger. So let's go ahead and hear out his response because it is pretty brilliant, very concise. Guy's a good communicator. Watch this.
I think the idea of allowing a genocidal, theocratic, unstable dictatorship that is desperate to avoid being overthrown by its own people to develop nuclear weapons is about the most dangerous and irresponsible thing that the world could ever allow. And if Israel were to stop that genocidal, theocratic, unstable government from acquiring nuclear weapons, it would be a gift by the Jewish state to humanity.
Wow. You see that? That was 20 seconds, man.
Clarity. That is the clarity that we need.
He said more than all U.S. politicians combined on this issue. And he condensed it all down to 20 seconds. It's 20 seconds of just unbridled common sense. Unbridled common sense.
That's it. Why don't we hear more of this? I swear this is the best thing that I have heard from a politician in the West, in the English-speaking language, from a significant one, during the entirety of the last year, probably. And it was so short, so concise, and so clear. This is the clarity and the honesty that you need. I don't even know this guy. I don't even know Canadian politics. I don't really care, honestly. But this was, thank you, man.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
And based, because she was trying to, she's looking for a gotcha moment. Look at all the, are you going to be a warmonger? Are you going to be a warmonger advocating for war? And this could escalate to a conventional war breaking out with Iran versus Israel. First of all, I got to go ahead and pull it up. 1 second. All right. All right, everyone. Here's a map of the Middle East. Here's a map of the Middle East, everyone. Does everyone see Iran over there on the right? See Iran? Big place. Big place. Iran, big place. A lot of land, a lot of space. Very spacious. Very spacious. If only they had different leaders to where they could make more use of all their great skiing slopes and so on. Anyway, there's Iran. There's Iran. Passed home to many, many empires. You've got Iran. Now, all the way on the other side over by the Mediterranean Sea, you have Israel. See it there? Little tiny Israel. See the like little itty bitty Israel, huge Iran. So she's saying, okay, what if that little tiny Israel goes over there and bombs Iran's nuclear facilities, as this politician, Pierre Depardieu-Croissant, is advocating? This could lead to conventional war between Iran and Israel. Okay, lady, how exactly would that work on this map here? Guys, do you see something in between Iran and Israel? I do. There's Iraq and there's Jordan. Right there in between Iran and Israel. And in case you don't know, Iraq and Jordan, they no likey Iran. Iraq and Jordan, they no likey Iran. So who does like Iran? Well, you've got Syria and Lebanon. Maybe you could say, well, maybe they'll make a deal with Turkey to funnel their tanks and so on through. The point is, how is Iran going to get an army to go over and attack Israel? You have to go through somewhere else, right? So you're going to have to make some deal or something like that. Turkey somehow, and then go down into what? And then down into Syria, and then what, through Lebanon? So guys, if Iran is crazy, they're not that crazy, because if they started sending an army over to Israel, the Israeli Air Force is going to be bombing them the entire time, and I would be shocked if one single Iranian soldier actually made it to Israel. I'd be very, very shocked. So this lady, oh no, you're going to end up with a conventional war. Look at a map, lady. Look at a freaking map. There's no scenario. Keep in mind, rocket attacks, things like that, escalating rocket attacks, or Iran funding more terrorists or causing more terrorist problems with the Houthis and so on. Yeah. All that could happen. Iran actually going out and fighting Israel. Come on, be a better reporter.
I mean, Iran fires, 200, 300, 400 ballistic missiles. Half of them fail, don't even reach the goal. The rest are intercepted. Only very few, maybe a dozen or so, actually hit the ground. That's what happens when Iran fires missiles, because that's how incompetent and how underdeveloped and how weak they are militarily seen. Their proxies, the Houthis, think we are going to send Israel a very strong message, and they send one missile over.
Powerful, you see.
which is then intercepted, and then they have Hezbollah, which they propped up and developed for decades, and Israel just within 1 week took out their entire leadership. So,
not looking good. I have to say, AP, again, it's the same thing with it's actually more extreme with Putin and Russia. Again, in my mind, when I grew up, it was like they are the main enemies of the U.S. That's how powerful they are. If you think, oh, now keep in mind they're not the Soviet Union anymore, but it's still Russia and it's Putin, and they're going after Ukraine. Oh man, poor Ukraine, they're going to get crushed. Wrong. And you're sitting there going, wait a minute, you've got Russia and they can't defeat one little country that's like really tiny compared to what Russia? Are you serious? It makes you not scared of what Russia can do anymore if you're just an average person. But same thing with Oh man, you've got Israel there, but you've got Hamas. Okay, they can take Hamas. Hezbollah. Okay, that's getting closer. That's a little more even. Israel would still win, but we remember those fights of the past. Hezbollah's pretty tough. And Iran. Oh my goodness, if Iran got involved, what would Israel do? Oh my goodness. And the Houthis are not powerful, but I mean, Israel can't just take on everyone in every direction. It's just too much. And then Israel just he's slapping them out and blowing their balls off and everything. And yep, you guys are way weaker than we thought. All of you. Iran, you look like a freaking joke now. If you asked me a month ago, I'd say, no, Iran's not going to win this, but they're probably pretty darn powerful. Wrong. They're pathetic little weaklings.
You're weakling.
It seems like as time goes on, so when it started off, way back, 1947, 1948, they were pretty evenly matched. It was close. Some of those battles were really, really close. And then you get to 67, and it seems Israel's a bit more powerful now. 73, even more. And now it's like, my goodness, they just slap you guys around like rag dolls. What are you going to do? How do you think this is going to be 10 years from now, 20 years from now?
That's the thing. Some people present this whole false notion of Israel and saying, "Oh, Israel would not survive if it wasn't for America, if it wasn't for the West. That's why they are surviving," and so on. That's not true. Israel was in a pretty difficult position in 1948 when it was attacked from all directions by Egypt, Syria, Lebanon, Jordan, all of them at the same time, plus those inside. And they were also economically suffering. There was fear of economic collapse very soon in Israel. It was not an experienced community and society. They were building, but it was quite fragile, and they were also militarily not that experienced. So there were fears that they might lose land or might become subjects and whatever it is. They did receive help because of that despair, but in the end, they so brutally defeated the surrounding Arab nations that the West thought, wait a minute, we didn't expect that. So, this is what led to these collaborations. And then 1967, the 1967 war, Israel humiliated Egypt and Jordan and the others, and these successes, one after the other, just led to the West considering Israel a very, very serious player in the Middle East, not just a test, not just a little joke, not just a small project, a very serious player. And then Israel develops advanced technologies, works together with the US, makes it to the top 10 of defense technology around the world, of innovations around the world, becomes one of the main developers in tech, becomes a main player at Nobel Prizes, develops an intelligence agency that it becomes feared around the world, and so on. There's just something about Israel,
There is something going on there. All right, so let's listen to this guy, what he just said one more time, because it's rare to have this level of clarity from a politician who a journalist is trying to entrap. Haha, I'm going to get him to say something, then I'll have my sound clip. No, you may have just won this guy you may have just won this guy the next election, lady. Great job. But here he goes.
I think the idea of allowing a genocidal, theocratic, unstable dictatorship that is desperate to avoid being overthrown by its own people to develop nuclear weapons
6 strikes
is about the most dangerous and irresponsible thing that the world could ever allow. And if Israel were to stop that genocidal, theocratic, unstable government from acquiring nuclear weapons, it would be a gift by the Jewish state to humanity.
Dude, I never thought I would say this, but I want this croissant gobbling, cheese munching, wine sipping Frenchman to move to the United States and become a politician here. Things don't work out in Canada, man. Things don't work out in Canada.
That is based.
It's making me question everything I think about reality and how the world works to want a French Canadian to be an American politician. But these are strange times. Strange times, everyone. All right, take a couple more super chats and then we'll jump into this. We're playing these because they're related to the topic. It's supposed to be a debate about. I'm assuming it's a debate about Israel.
Yeah.
Dershowitz wrote some sort of book called The Case for Israel or Why There Needs to Be Israel or something like that. What's it called? You want to check that out?
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Mr. Mag says, let's talk about Netanyahu. We can exile him to rule Lebanon for all I care. Free Israel from Bibi is what we're talking about. You got some people who are not fans. I cannot comment on how popular or unpopular he is. We could look at statistics, but I don't know the reasons for that. All I can say is phenomenal communicator, and he's right now willing to take the steps that need to be taken. We've said this before. I get the impression that he knows he's not going to have a much of a political future after this, that there are going to be issues with what happened on October 7th and the security breakdown and so on. Seems to me like he's saying, okay, I'm going to get done what I need to get done right now and make the place safe from all these groups around me on my way out.
The thing is, Israeli opinion on Netanyahu is surprisingly is actually very good right now.
Is it? Really?
After in
complain about him.
Response to the war, I think the majority. There was a poll just from a few days ago. The majority still say that he should not run again for prime minister. He should be done with politics, and leave the stage to somebody else. But the opinion is not necessarily bad, and he did handle much of. While some people are lots of people are disappointed because or angered or really upset for quite understandable reasons because of the whole hostage issue of hostages not being brought back after a whole year, many of them dying in Gaza and so on. But with all that, his firm stance against Hamas and Hezbollah really has been quite good so far, and he has been the face of humiliating Hezbollah within just a few weeks, and stuff like that makes you popular.
Yeah, so it's a sort of situation where he may not be the leader some people want, but he is the leader you people need right now. Here you have responses from other people saying we love BB and so on. So yeah, you got a mixture of opinions over there. I'd say if you had a weaker leader right now, you'd be in a lot of trouble. You'd be in a lot more trouble right now. Let's see a couple more, and then we'll jump into this debate: how gay Muslims can come out. Letter from Gabriel. I made your son gay. He was ashamed to tell you, but Allah is not ashamed to tell you the truth. Okay, that's how you do it. So you get a letter and say, this is from the angel Gabriel. Your son is too shy to tell you, but Allah is not shy. That's fine. Very good. You might have to do a joke like that, a skit. I have a problem with Canadians. I have a problem with Canadians. Yeah, everyone has a problem with Canadians.
Everyone has, man.
Y'all said that Canadians lost testicular fortitude, eh? It's sad and true. Slight majority are woke. There's even national anti-Islamophobia strategery. That is an ongoing problem. That's what happens when you drink too much maple syrup. I commend Netanyahu for trying to make peace, but you can't change Islam. Islam has been at war with Jews since the 7th century. That's the thing. You can make peace with certain groups. You can definitely make peace with the Christians. You can make peace with Muslim nations. You've got Muslim nations that are willing to work with Israel. They're understanding that the world is a different place right now and so on. So hopefully things work out. Thank you, Pierre, AP, and D Wood. Like Canadians again, eh? Yeah, Canadians are our favorite people now. Until the next time one of your politicians speak and we go, what? What?
Can you imagine like two Canadians sitting in a cafe and having a conversation?
Yep.
Hey.
Want some more syrup, eh? Yeah, pour some more syrup in my coffee, eh? When you let too many Muslims into a Christian country, it becomes a Muslim country. If you value life and the lives of others, I hope you live.
Alhamdulillah.
Elder Mike Winger, hope Israel flattens Iran. The fools believe an Arab warlord is a prophet. Outrageous. Clearly, the final prophet would be from America, land of Nephi. that's from the Mormon. From the Mormon, Mike Winger. That's assuming the Iranian army wants to fight. Yeah, guys, there's no scenario where they're going to fight. They would not do that. They would know that starting some long march over to Israel would. Yeah, I think the Iranian army would pull a coup before they went and actually fought Israel. Why did ISIS never attack Israel? Long-term plan? We've talked about that about 1 trillion times before, but as far as overall strategy, the leader of ISIS took the name Abu Bakr al-Baghdadi, the Abu Bakr of Baghdad, for a reason.
Baghdad.
After Muhammad's death, you had all these people, all these Muslims who started becoming apostates of one kind or another, or just refusing to follow the leadership of Abu Bakr and so on. Abu Bakr went and fought everyone. He fought everyone, and he said, if you do not give me a piece of rope that you would have given to Muhammad, in other words, if you are deviating even slightly from what I tell you, I'm coming to kill you. And so he launched what are called the Apostate Wars. The idea was you cleanse the Muslim community first, then you worry about expanding. Cleanse and purify your community first of all heresy and rebellion and hypocrisy and so on. Then you expand and take on the rest of the world. What did ISIS do? Hey, we're going around here. We're gonna get rid of all these Shias and so on. These Christians, we're gonna make them pay jizya. All these other groups, Yazidis, we're gonna make them our sex slaves. That's how it's supposed to be. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And those before us are not doing it. We haven't been doing this. Now we're gonna do everything the Islamic way, and then Allah's gonna bless us to take over the world.
Alhamdulillah. By the way, we just mentioned because somebody mentioned it, JBP and Naftali Bennett. According to the latest polls, Naftali Bennett might become the replacement or the new candidate for prime minister in Israel, replacing Netanyahu. So according to the polls, when Netanyahu and Bennett are put together, the majority goes for Naftali Bennett, and there is quite a difference between the score they give for each candidate and so on.
Is he strong or is he a weakling?
I think he's quite based.
Okay. Sar says, did you guys see the Iranian video where they brought Hezbollah terrorists maimed by the pagers to Iran? Hilarious on Yeshai Fleischer video. No, I haven't checked that out, but I look forward to, I will check that out.
That's funny.
Look what they did. Look at this man. Look, pull your pants down, sir. Pull your pants down. Show the world that you have no testicles because you're a terrorist who had a beeper. Look what they did to this man's testicles. That would be...
Why would they do this?
Goat Hub says, I don't hate French Canadians. I like Pierre. He one of the good ones. Yeah, can't stand Canadians. But that Pierre guy, he one of the good ones, everyone. If this guy wins the election in Canada and Harris wins in the U.S., I predict a mass migration from U.S. to Canada. If this comes true, call me Prophet Abe. We will. We'll remember this. We will not forget you said this. From the Mossad. Yes, thank you, but quit making it so obvious. You got to just spell it differently or something like that. Name a better debater from this century than Mohammed Hijab. This man humiliates all his opponents. He is big and strong with loud voice. Yes, and you know it's true because Urinating Broom has declared it. Programmer X says, did you see a potential Muslim Australian party is forming? There's websites showing which sheets Muslims should focus on and win. Same thing they've been doing in the UK right now. Now they come in. Hey, all we want is peace and tolerance, and then now we want to take over. Compare the Taiping Rebellion to Muhammad's rise. I don't know enough about the rebellion here. All right, guys. We've got a guy named Mohammed Hijab. Mohammed Hijab.
Hijab.
For those of you who don't remember Mohammed Hijab. Hey, AP. Again, I have not watched this yet, but Hijab likes going on Piers Morgan if he's talking to someone who doesn't know anything about Islam or who's not going to attack Islam, because that allows him to go on there and say a bunch of things, attack the other person, attack the person's character and something, knowing that person is not going to say, what about you and all these messed up things you've done, because they don't know about Mohammed Hijab. And also definitely people who won't bring it back to Mohammed, right? Who don't go after Muhammad. It's like, wait, you're complaining about this? You're complaining about Rabbi Shmuley's daughter? What about your prophet, man? And Aisha and stuff. And they just don't bring that kind of stuff up. That's why he likes going on there. But for everyone who doesn't know, I mean, these are the sorts of things that someone could pull up, something like that. If it was in a debate and Mohammed Hijab starts going on personal attacks. But wait a minute, Mohammed Hijab, aren't you the one who said, I believe certain anti-Muslim women would wish they lived in the medieval period? A period where if a war was won by the opposing side, it was conventional that people could be taken as booty? Some historical accounts actually say some women would dress up for the captor. See what he's saying here, ladies and gentlemen? He's saying women who criticize Islam in the West actually wish they lived in the medieval period where the last time Muslims could win a war. They wish they lived in the medieval period where we were still strong and could go and take captive. Because these women know that if we took them over, there would be real men and they would dress up for us so that we could come and rape them. That's what they want. This is a guy saying that all these women who are criticizing Islam actually wish that they lived in a different period of time where the Muslim conquerors could show up and turn them into sex slaves, and they would dress up for it. So that's this guy. That's this pillar of morality. Who, guys, this isn't some random guy. This is the most popular dawagandist on the planet right now, and this is how he acts. And that's his response to non-Muslims, critics of Islam. Here's how he talks to a Muslim that he disagrees with. So this is over the issue of breastfeeding adults. A guy says, okay, Mohammed Hijab says, okay, can I suck your wife's tit to make her mahram?
Of course you can.
Yeah, so this is the guy who's defending. What's amazing is Mohammed Hijab is actually mocking Muhammad in this, right? The guy who's defending what Muhammad said, right? Muhammad is the one, this is in the Muslim sources, Muhammad's the one who came up with the rule that if you have to go on a journey out of town or something like that, you're worried because your wife has to be around some young stud and you're worried about them committing adultery while you're gone or something like that. This gets brought to Muhammad. How can I trust my wife alone with this young guy, this young stud? He's all strong and manly. I'm going to be out of town. What do I do? It came down from Allah. So Muhammad, keep in mind, Hijab is not just making fun of this other Muslim. He's making fun of Muhammad and Allah because it was Allah's solution of the problem. Allah said, if you're worried about your wife being around this young stud while you're away, have her breastfeed the man 10 times. 10 times. Have your wife stick her big round breasts right in this guy's face, right in his mouth. Have him suck on her nipples and do that 10 times, and then he'll be like her son, and there won't be any sexual attraction between this guy with a beard sucking on your wife's big round breasts. Hijab seems to understand how idiotic and insane that is, so he wants to make fun of it. What's he making fun of? He's making fun of his prophet. The Muslim who's defending this isn't defending just his own view that he came up with. He's defending what Allah and Muhammad say. And Hijab's response, okay, could I suck your wife's tit to make a mahram? That's someone you're not allowed to not allowed to marry. What? And then someone objects, what kind of mannerisms are these? Shame on you, Muhammad. Why is it wrong? He believes it's halal. Yeah, your God and your prophet believed it was halal too, Mohammed Hijab. They're the ones you're making fun of right now. Gotta love this guy. Gotta love this guy. So anyway, that's our good friend Mohammed Hijab. You know what?
That's what we'll do.
You know what? We kind of just have to have a little blast from the past, man. Little blast from the past. Little blast from the past. As far as anyone wants to know who we're dealing with, here's Mohammed Hijab at Speaker's Corner on the topic of sex with prepubescent little girls.
If you look just at the Quran, you will get the indication that you can have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old.
That's true. You would get
The
that.
reason why it's haram to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old is not found in the Quran at all. If you just read the Quran, it is halal. It would be halal to have sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old. In Surah Al-Talaq, chapter 65, verse 4, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us who you can divorce and who you cannot divorce. And then he says, وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ وَاللَّائِ لَمْ يَحِدْنَ, and the ones who had never been pubescent before. And by the way, this is very important, yeah? I want all Muslims to be aware of this. The reason why we don't have sexual intercourse with 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds and 7-year-olds or whatever is not because of puberty.
Not because of puberty. By the way, guys, look at all these young Muslim ladies standing around listening to this. How it's okay. According to the Quran, guys, just to be clear, Mohammed Hijab is not, hate to have to defend him, you'll have people like Daniel Hikikachu saying it's okay to have sex with a 4- and 5-year-old, and they have no problem with it. Hijab here is not saying it's okay to have sex with a 5-year-old, although he would, I'm pretty sure he would be fine with that as long as the girl is not tiny or frail, because I know the sources that he's referring to in all of this. So his position is not it's okay to go jump on a 5-year-old. His position is that the Quran, everything you have in the Quran is fine with it. The Quran is fine with it. He's talking to Quran-only Muslims who say, hey, we have, in Hijab's position here is, the Quran says it's perfectly acceptable to marry, have sex with, and divorce a girl all before she's reached puberty, to pass her on to the next guy before she's reached puberty. Then that guy can marry her, have sex with her, divorce her, pass her on, all before she's reached puberty. A girl could have 5 different husbands all before she's reached puberty, according to the Quran. What he's arguing is that because you don't find anything in the hadith that actually contradicts this, you do have a hadith that has a general statement against harming others, right? Which again, you can't just say that means whatever you want.
Do you want to go through the whole history of Mohammed Hijab, or do you want to watch the video, David?
I just want people to understand this, because it's very important as we get into this discussion, because I can tell by the comments that he's going after Alan Dershowitz's character and Jeffrey Epstein. I've seen the comments on this. So Hijab here, 5-year-old is perfect. Banging a 5-year-old, perfectly acceptable according to the Quran. You go to the hadith and you can say, well, it says don't harm, and therefore you'd have to make sure that she's pretty sturdy if you're banging her. Something along those lines, but let's see.
Wait a minute, what did you say? It's not because of puberty, because that verse in the Quran actually says lam yahid. They never had puberty before.
Never had.
You can't go around that.
Nope.
The Quran
Can't go around it. You can't go around the fact that the Quran allows sex with prepubescent.
doesn't say anywhere in the Quran that the woman has to be pubescent. I dare you to find one verse in the Quran where it says you're not allowed to marry someone based on harm, or you're not allowed to have sexual intercourse based on harm, or you're not allowed to marry someone based on puberty. So if you're a Quran alone, you're allowed to have sexual intercourse with 5-year-olds. Get me one verse in the Quran which says the woman has to be pubescent. One verse. I want one verse in the Quran from the beginning of the book to the end of the book which says that she has to be pubescent. So okay, so that makes it halal from your perspective. From your perspective, it's halal. You know, in the Quran it says حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمْ أُمَّهَاتُكُمْ. It says you're not allowed to marry your mum. It says you're not allowed to marry your sister, your auntie. Where does it say you're not allowed to marry a prepubescent?
Where does that leave us, Hijab?
I'm looking for one verse that you can say, you pinpoint it and say this is where it says prepubescent marriage or whatever is not allowed. So if you're Quran alone, you're steered towards pedophilia, a severe type of pedophilia,
Severe type of pedophilia.
a wife abuse, a severe type of wife abuse.
Did you guys catch that? He said, if you just go with the Quran and you do not go to much later Muslim sources and commentaries to figure out something else, you are steered towards, what did he call it? A severe type of pedophilia? AP, you've pointed out before, like when he says severe type of pedophilia, you can't just say pedophilia because that's definitely allowed according to Muslim sources. He said, he has to say it's worse. It's a worse sort of pedophilia than the normal pedophilia. So yes, guys, we'll believe in pedophilia, it's great. But if you just go with the Quran allows eternal speech, that he had all eternity to get exactly the way he wants. It would be a more severe type of pedophilia. You don't want the more severe type, you just want the regular pedophilia, right? This is Islam. These are the debates that they're having at Muslims are having at Speaker's Corner. What level of pedophilia should we like? What level of pedophilia should we approve of? Just the regular pedophilia, or the severe type of pedophilia that you would get from the Quran? It's amazing stuff, man.
The good thing is that some people complain and say, "Are you going to go through the whole history of Mohammed Hijab with a video?"
Yeah.
But it's actually important that we go through this video because Piers Morgan, during the debate with Mohammed Hijab, actually says to him, because he says Mohammed Hijab goes on and says about Alan Dershowitz, "Oh, we have to know his history. We have to know his history to see the sick things that he has defended." And then Piers says, Mohammed, there are lots of videos going around on social media about you. Do you want us to pull up those? That's what he says to him.
That's what he should have done.
This is actually pretty irrelevant.
Oh, that's funny. That is funny then. See? I guess Pierce's mind works really well some of the time. It's weird. Pierce, like half the time, I think, this guy's pretty good on point. And the other half of the time, I'm thinking, what the heck is wrong with this guy? Why does he have a show?
I want to actually, before we look at it, mention just a few tweets that Piers Morgan did, some before he published the interview and one afterward. Before he published it, Mohammed Hijab said, "Just done Piers Uncensored show against Alan Dershowitz. The humiliation was so bad I almost felt sorry for both of them myself." Piers then responded to it with, "You were pathetic, childish, and ruined what was supposed to be a serious debate, and by doing so you did the Palestinian people a massive disservice."
Ouch.
Very disappointing. And the funny thing is, Mohammed Hijab usually dominates on social media when he comments. Mohammed Hijab's tweet has 9,000 likes. Piers Morgan's tweet has 17,000 likes.
Wow. That is rough there, man.
And today, people, after it was published, people were complaining and saying, "Why in the world do you keep inviting this guy back on? Why would you do this?" And then he actually said, "I won't have him on again. He let himself down, and the Palestinians as well."
Yeah, because guys, I mean, like seriously, if you're Mohammed Hijab, you're a Muslim debater, you're the most popular dawah clown on the planet, and you constantly complain about Israel, and you claim to be, the supporter of the Palestinians and so on, and then you get brought onto a program to have a debate with Alan Dershowitz on this issue. Are you going to make your case for why Israel is wrong and what should be happening? Are you going to do that, or are you going to derail it with a bunch of clown antics?
Alhamdulillah.
If you derail the conversation with a bunch of clown antics and you don't get anything across, you had that opportunity. You had that opportunity to make your case for what should be different about the world and what should be going on. If you didn't, you just missed a golden opportunity, and we have to wonder, do you even think you have a case? If you did not want to present it, do you even think you have a? I haven't watched it, so I don't know if he made some points but then derailed it or something like that. I don't know. But we're about to take these last couple of super chats just because some of them are related to things we've already watched. We want the new stuff. Gad Sad got in trouble for making fun of French Canadian in particular. Said it's a terrible sounding dialect. Huh. I don't know how bad it sounds to someone who actually knows, but I'm just going to agree preemptively with Gad Sad and say he's completely correct. It's a terrible, stupid dialect. You guys cut to the chase. Keep them rolling. We shall. That's what we do. We keep rolling. Have you discussed the creation of the state of the Bektashi order in Albania? No, we haven't. Supposedly, this is supposed to be a new Muslim version of the Vatican.
I briefly addressed it. Well, it is. It's not really. It is. So the Bektashi order is a Sufi order that originates in Turkey, and it's actually known to be quite a peaceful order that is just focused on spirituality and all of that. And so Albania is turning Christian, and it is actually the suggestion of the Christian prime minister or president, whatever, to have this little city state, this religious state, the Bektashi state in the middle, in Albania, in Europe. I think it's actually kind of cool, honestly.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with it. I'm interested in checking that out, though. Definitely. Oh, this is Brian, who said earlier that it was from Mossad. Now he says definitely not from the Mossad. Okay, now.
Alhamdulillah.
Gotcha, Brian. Hebrew done right says Hezbollah has the military strength of 30 men. They sure do, don't they? You are an inspiration on behalf of Taters. Those are Andrew Tate fans, ladies and gentlemen. Taters. And Kazakhs, those are fans of someone else. I don't know who that is. I want to say that we're tired of this Islamic BS, and good half of us supports Israel. I get sick when dummies on X label us Islamists. Bless you.
Alhamdulillah.
Let's see. Ayatollah says, AP, please keep growing the beard as your final step in becoming Serbian Orthodox.
That's what I'm doing. That's why I'm growing it.
Yeah, that'd be cool. That'd be pretty based. Mormons say their ancestors are Jews who moved to the U.S. in ancient times, and I say, dear world, seek professional help. You are obsessed. It's not healthy.
Stop it. Get some help.
All right. We ready to jump into this debate?
No.
Wanted to spend a couple minutes talking about other stuff, but now it's been an hour. AP derailed this really, really quickly. All right, here we go. We have Hijab, Mohammed Hijab versus Alan Dershowitz. I'm guessing Piers is going to introduce Dershowitz and so on. If not, because I knew he's a lawyer. That's all I knew. I knew he's a lawyer, and then I've heard his name a bunch of times.
He's a lawyer. He wrote a book called The Case for Israel, which is a book that is basically that addresses allegations against Israel and then refutes them in a very nice and organized way. And he has been a very prominent lawyer, represented some really high-level people and also some bad people. Which is what lawyers do, and we predicted it yesterday. Yesterday, if you remember, yesterday you said he was going to derail it by talking about something else, and I said I know exactly what he's going to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's guess. And the chat also then knew what he was going to talk about, and we were right.
Yeah. So guys, yesterday it was a prediction. Like Again, I knew Alan Dershowitz was some kind of lawyer or something like that. Other than that, I did not know anything about him. But I know Hijab, and I knew Hijab would derail the conversation by going after the person. But I said, I don't know what he'd go after him for. And then AP, who knows a little bit more about him, said exactly what he would go after him for. And apparently, by the sounds of things, that's the way it was. But I totally forgot, but I did early this morning, 5:44 a.m., so before the debate had been posted, I posted this on Twitter. I said, the debate between Mohammed Hijab and Alan Dershowitz comes out later today, and we'll be reviewing it tonight. Make your prediction now. How will Hijab derail the debate and turn it into a complete waste of time? It seems to be what he could be using. He could be using the debate to make a point, to make a case. Instead, he uses it to completely derail things. We just know that about Hijab now. So I said, make your predictions on how he's going to derail the debate, and then just give a couple of predictions real quick from people. And these are notice this is 13 hours ago, so it's before people saw it. Hijab will bring up his defense of Jeffrey Epstein and possibly OJ. He may even bring up the fact that Dershowitz was accused of sexual misconduct. And finally, I'm guessing Hijab will bring up that he has argued in favor of allowing some forms of torture like waterboarding and so on. I'm waiting for his we won, we strong update. Yeah, you know you're getting that when it's Mohammed Hijab. Childish buffoonery. What else? Yeah, I would agree. I think I'm about to see some childish buffoonery. We have, it's actually a thing? That's like having a retarded Dora the Explorer debate Gordon Freeman. Look into my eyes, you will see. The internet was the worst thing to ever happen to Islam. They wanted to be in the modern mainstream spotlight beyond their home team crowd only theater and park circuit, and how they deal with the criticism and pushback that come with it.
Ethel Dredd said, wait, Dershowitz defended Epstein. Yeah, to put this into context, when we say defended Epstein, we're not saying that he came out in defense of Jeffrey
He's
Epstein.
A lawyer.
He's a lawyer, a defense attorney. So
He's someone you hire.
He did his job by defending people who were some bad people or some good people. He defended. He also was a Donald Trump's lawyer at one point.
What was he? Was he OJ's lawyer? Was he one of OJ's lawyers too?
Yeah,
Because I just saw OJ.
He
Okay, so he was on the Dream Team.
He wrote OJ's defense. He was on his team. He defended Jeffrey Epstein, Mike Tyson, Donald Trump, Harvard Law School.
Oh,
and
so he is a dude. If he's defending all the like biggest names, then he is apparently like the go-to guy. If you have pockets full of money and you want to hire, so this means he's like top notch, like one of the top lawyers on the planet. If all the richest people are getting him.
The state of Israel hired him to defend them. So he's a real big shot.
Interesting. Interesting. Probably some pervy comment as usual. That's how Mohammed Hijab is going to derail it. He's going to talk about pervy stuff. Sarah here says, oh my goodness, my bet is that Alan Dershowitz ran circles around Hijab, who only knows how to chest thump and insult. Can't believe this matchup happened. Hijab shouts and speaks over Piers and Dershowitz over under 50 times. So he's willing to bet on this, whether it's going to be 50 times more or less. 2 candles will make a bigger light, Piers. What about that? How can Alan Dershowitz answer this? Did you know if you put 2 candles together, it will make a bigger flame? Mohammed Hijab will embarrass himself as usual. Yes, that's what they do. Haha, Mo thought he's intellectual enough to go against Alan. Definitely, I'll be watching this. I'll bring my popcorn. My prediction, it will start to get derailed when he opens his mouth. Yeah, that's true. How? So how will he derail it? By opening his mouth, lol. We'll go after Alan's character. I can bet money on that one. I predict he will puff his chest and shout in an attempt to intimidate. Watching it will be like watching a circus, and little Hijab is the clown. Let me guess, chest thumping while shouting, me gorilla, me dominate. And then some wild ad hominems for days. Interruptions, shouting over. People seem to know Mohammed Hijab pretty well by now, AP. Everyone seemed to be getting the correct idea. Stomping like my kids when I say no to a new toy. Piers Morgan discovered something new. He is the worst. Spoiler alert, check out Piers Morgan says, you are humiliated. Yeah. And Dr. Wood, in your opinion, has Mohammed Hijab ever taken a bath? What's wrong with people? I put my money on a tantrum, Zakir Naik. It's like you're a prophet, David, a better one than Muhammad for that matter. Okay, so yes, apparently we have a bunch of prophets who are more accurate in their prophecies than Muhammad himself. But let's see what we've got here. Mohammed Hijab versus Alan Dershowitz on Piers Morgan.
What I'd like this to be is a civilized debate between two people with very strong...
Dude, we couldn't get 2 seconds. Did you hear what he just said?
I know.
I don't want to keep interrupting, but what I'd like this to be is a civilized debate between two... Bull, Piers, you know, if this were the first time you ever had Hijab on, you could say that this is not the first time you've had Hijab on.
Opinions about this.
Wherever we see suffering, wherever we see death and destruction, assault, sexual assault,
see Islam.
Dershowitz to the rescue. The former defense attorney of Jeffrey Epstein.
Mohammed, attacking a lawyer
Yes.
for defending people is a stupid argument.
Stop looking at me when I'm speaking to you.
What's this got to do with Israel?
This shows you the bias in the coverage.
You're talking complete bullshit.
You should be arrested
Good
without
boy.
charge if you're
Good
held
boy.
for a
Don't
Don't be
security
so
reason.
pathetic.
Question
I'll tell you
mark.
what, let me ask the question.
Sure, go
and
ahead.
you guys try and
Go
debate
ahead.
it.
Why is this uncomfortable?
It's nothing to do with the debate.
Good
Why are
inference.
you doing this, Mohammed?
Why not?
Because
Why
it's
not?
pointless. What if you didn't want to do
Why not? Do you hear him? He's going, good boy, good boy. This guy's a freaking clown.
I found it good. I found it great that Piers Morgan actually just gave him the response. Attacking a lawyer for defending someone is a stupid argument. He said exactly what should be said. It's just so dumb. It's like you have lawyers and it is their job to represent people, some of whom are really guilty, did some horrible things, some of whom are totally innocent, falsely accused, and so on. Because in a proper system, in a proper legal system, every single person, whether they are good or bad, deserves the right for proper a legal procedure, and deserves a defense attorney. So it's like going to some upstanding amazing lawyer who at some point defended a murderer and say, "Who are you? Why would I believe anything you say? You defend a murderer.
You like murder? This man supports murder.
That's what lawyers do. Sorry.
That's what lawyers do, and that's what they
It's
get
actually
paid for.
ethical. It's ethical. It's considered the ethical thing to do, to provide everyone, including bad people, with the right to have a lawyer and to be fairly presented in front of the law. That's it.
And this is we've only seen the little highlight reel and so on. But think about this. So Hijab is complaining that Alan Dershowitz, because it's his job, that's what he gives people a defense, which they're allowed to have in the United States of America, and saying, but you get paid to defend people who've done certain things. Yeah, Mohammed Hijab gets paid to defend things like this. Sahih Bukhari, 5133. Look at the chapter heading. Giving one's young children in marriage is permissible. Why? By virtue of the statement of Allah, and for those who have no monthly courses, i.e. they are still immature, so prepubescent, Surah 65:4. That is the verse that Mohammed Hijab brought up to show that the Quran does allow a grown man to have sex with a prepubescent 5-year-old. And it says in the iddah for the girl before puberty, notice it says before puberty. This is talking about the iddah is the waiting period after you've had sex with a girl and you decide to divorce her, and before you can pass her on to the next guy. How long does she have to wait? And it's saying the iddah. So how long a prepubescent girl has to wait before she can marry again is 3 months. And the example that they give, Sahih Bukhari 5133, narrated Aisha that the Prophet wrote the marriage contract with her when she was 6 years old, and he consummated his marriage when she was 9 years old, and then she remained with him for 9 years, i.e. till his death. Muhammad Hijab defends this.
Because he wants to defend it, by the way.
But he also gets paid. He also gets paid to defend this.
Yeah.
So, yep.
He chooses to do this. He specifically chooses to defend this.
Yeah, so here's the difference. Alan Dershowitz, I'm pretty sure, has defended all kinds of people that he finds morally reprehensible and does not approve of their actions. What he does believe in, that you still, in the United States, have a right to an attorney to give you the best legal defense you can afford.
Yep.
Hijab, when he's defending Muhammad having sex with a prepubescent 9-year-old girl, when he's defending the Quran for saying that you can have sex with a prepubescent girl, he's doing it because he believes in it. He's not saying, "Oh, this is reprehensible, but my job is to defend it." No, he believes it's good and it's wonderful. I don't know anything about Dershowitz. I already believe Dershowitz is morally superior to Mohammed Hijab and to his prophet.
That's true.
And for the record, as despicable as Epstein was, I think he's better than Muhammad.
That's true.
O.J. Simpson, the Juice, one of the greatest running backs of all time. Ex-husband, pretty bad. He's pretty bad on the ex-husband scale. I think he was a massively better person than Muhammad. That's how screwed up Muhammad was, and that's the guy Hijab is defending. He is the lawyer of a pedophile.
Debate, don't agree to do it.
What's wrong with you? Why are you not looking at me again? You're crying. Are you crying?
The intro's still going on.
My eyes. Is there any point in
Did he ask him if he's crying?
Yeah.
Why are you stuttering? Why are you crying? Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
The events of the past year have shattered stability in the Middle East. Israel's war on Hamas, provoked by the atrocities of October the 7th, have led to the deaths of tens of thousands of innocent Palestinians. Prime Minister Netanyahu promised total victory and the complete destruction of Hamas. But 1 year on, Hamas is still firing rockets at Tel Aviv. 1 year on, 97 hostages remain in Hamas captivity. Very clearly, Israel's not fulfilled its stated aims in this war, and it continues to add new ones. It's now at war in Lebanon and on the precipice of a direct conflict with Iran. It has no plausible exit strategy in Gaza, where millions live in grief and under occupation. But it has, without question, decimated Iran's client militias. Hezbollah, the jewel in Iran's crown, has been decapitated. The question is whether that makes the Middle East and the world a safer or a more dangerous place. Can it really be said that Israel is winning this war? How big will this war get? And how much collateral damage and suffering can the world tolerate before enough is enough? This debate will examine the legality, the morality, and the sustainability of the conflicts in the Middle East. Joining me?
Did you guys catch Pierce's ambition for this show? Like, these are the issues we want to get to the bottom of, ladies. He just ran through all these different things. This is what we want to get to in this show. I don't think he's going to get to all of that, AP. I don't know. I haven't seen it. I don't think that this show is going to end up successfully dealing with all these issues.
I watched the first, I don't know, maybe less than 10 minutes or so, maybe. But you will see that Alan Dershowitz, he gives the first response. His response is entirely just on topic, factual. And as soon as Mojab gets his turn and starts responding, it starts derailing.
I don't believe you. That's not the Mohammed Hijab that we all know and love. Let's see what happens.
Are two of our most passionate advocates for their cause. The Muslim philosopher, scholar, and YouTuber.
Muslim philosopher.
Philosopher and scholar. Look at
Mohammed Hijab. And the lawyer and author, Alan Dershowitz. Well, welcome to both of you. Mohammed, you've been on twice before, Alan many times. What I'd like this to be is a civilized debate between two people with very strong opinions about this.
Civilized.
Obviously very different
And
opinions.
you got hijab.
Where we try and reach potentially some points of agreement. Because so often with...
Come on, man. You have to know at this point that this is not what you're doing. So
no, I want to have this great chess match, and so I've brought in this gorilla throwing poop everywhere. That's what I want, so I can have this great chess competition.
These debates, that seems almost impossible. Descends into a shouting match. Everyone gets ad hominem. Everyone digs ever deeper into their trench, their tribe, and we don't get anything constructive out of it. I think you guys are smart enough.
You know what's funny?
It's hilarious that he just said that. Go ahead.
I'm pretty sure that he's specifically doing this speech because he knows Mohammed Hijab, and he just really hopes that by
no question
by saying this, he might just warn him and get it done and actually get a proper conversation. Although I would say that Piers probably likes having the whole fight and the disgusting attitude. He probably still wants at least some goodness to come out of this, because the thing is, Alan Dershowitz is a serious guy. I'm pretty sure that I bet that after this conversation was over, Alan probably, I don't know, said to Piers, please never again invite me to have a conversation with somebody like this. I mean, it's totally something that he could have said.
Yeah,
so,
it seems
there's
like
the reputation of the show also.
Yeah, based on what Piers just said, it seems like he thought, hey, if I really, really strongly request to have a good discussion, if I really make my case for why we should try to get through all of these issues calmly to actually make a point, rather than descending into a shouting match and chest thumping. Maybe if I call it out before Hijab ever speaks, maybe that will be in Hijab's mind, will be in everyone else's mind. So he can't do what I just said, please don't do. Yes. And, because that would be a disservice, a disservice to the Palestinians and so on, if you just resort to chest thumping and so on. So hopefully by calling it out before it even happens, then Hijab can't do. Because, I mean, you don't want to do that, right? You don't want to be like, hey, I hope what doesn't happen is that one side just starts and personal attacks. I hope you're not going to do that, because it's kind of hard to just do that right after, launch right into that. Wrong, not for Hijab. If that's all you know, that's all you do.
Through spirited and passionate debate, agree about some stuff. And that is surely the first basis for how any of this eventually gets resolved. So let's hope for the best.
No, I'm the bassist. He's not the bassist.
Prepare for the worst and hope for the best, as they say. Alan Dershowitz, let me start with you. Israel, it seems to me, in the last 3 weeks have massively ramped up their military offensive in a way that says to me that Prime Minister Netanyahu and his cabinet sense an opportunity to completely, in their eyes, sort out the Middle East problem once and for all, with Iran at the center of that problem. Is that how you see this?
Yes.
Yes, I do. I see Iran as the head of the octopus, sending out its tentacles through the Houthis, through Hamas, through Hezbollah. The tragedy, as we celebrate's a bad word, commemorate October 7th, is that if Sinwar and Hamas had the opportunity to do it again.
What's that?
Indeed, it's a bad word.
That would be a bad word.
Yeah.
Knowing everything that followed, knowing all the deaths and disasters in Gaza and in Lebanon, I think Hamas would do it again, would do October 7th again, because they think they've won. They've turned college and university students against Israel. They have solidified the United Nations opposition to Israel. They've divided Americans, particularly the Republican administrations in the past, from the current Democratic administration. So Hamas cannot be allowed to have a victory growing out of October 7th any more than ISIS should have been allowed to have a victory going out of 9/11. So I think the answer...
Did you just say ISIS?
Mm-hmm. That was...
Misspoke.
That wasn't
Al-Qaeda.
ISIS.
Yeah.
That was
Al-Qaeda. 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 I
I
hope you're better than this in court, Alan Dershowitz.
The guy is 86 years old.
That's
Give him a
true.
break.
Yeah.
And Mohammed Hijab is here bullying an 86-year-old man.
That's true. This guy's 86. I hope I'm alive at 86, but I hope I'm this coherent at 86. I do not predict that I will be.
Answer is yes, a military defeat for Iran and its surrogates, and a peace process between Israel and Saudi Arabia with steps taken toward the recognition of a two-state solution, which is the only reasonable solution that will solve the problem. But remember that October 7th was stimulated by the desire to prevent Israel and Saudi Arabia from creating a peace process following up from the Abraham Accords. And unless that peace process continues, and unless Hamas is told, no, you failed, the world will not reward you for this, we're just going to see a continuation of the bloodshed in the Middle East, which does not serve the interests of the Palestinians nor the Israeli people.
Okay.
Apart from misspeaking slightly on a couple of things, great opening statement, and I stand corrected, AP. It looks like we're going to have a fair, calm, maybe passionate, but fair, balanced, intelligent discussion.
Shut up.
You don't think so?
You know exactly what's about to happen as soon as Mohammed Hijab
And it's funny because I haven't seen it at all, but I just know Hijab. So it's amazing. So after Piers specifically requested, guys, please, can we please have a calm? I mean, and having Dershowitz on there was actually probably part of Piers's plan. Like, if I get some, Harvard educated lawyer on here, then, maybe Hijab won't be as hot-headed as, with like a Rabbi Shmuley or something like that. Maybe I can actually, and if I really, really make my case for why we should have a calm discussion, maybe he won't just engage in the personal attacks.
That's what they do.
All right, let's see what happens.
Mohammed Hijab, your response to that?
Well, first of all, I would like to say that wherever we see suffering, wherever we see death and destruction, especially of young people, assault, sexual assault, we see Dershowitz to the rescue. The former defense attorney of Jeffrey Epstein, a man himself accused of rape.
I knew we would get to that. I
didn't give you permission to interrupt me. I didn't give you permission to interrupt me. I stayed quiet when you were talking.
Okay, here's what I would say.
That's the Mohammed Hijab we all know and love, ladies and gentlemen. The guy just made a coherent case about what needs to happen in the Middle East, because that's the topic, and Hijab instantly turns it to something about Alan Dershowitz. What have I said literally hundreds of times? The goal in dawah is not to respond to what the other person is saying. The goal of dawah is to discredit the person. Therefore, you don't have to deal with the person said. That's why they'll always, oh, this person's bad, this person's an Islamophobe, this person was never an ex-Muslim because he's from the wrong sect of Islam. They're trying to discredit the person so that people don't listen to him. And
This is
you've already got it.
the definition of an ad hominem and of poisoning the well. It's one thing to bring up something like this when it's actually relevant to the topic, but another to just from the very, very start, before even talking about it, trying to win people over or trying to vilify the other person by saying something bad about them and misrepresenting them. I mean, he is attacking right now Alan Dershowitz for being a lawyer, basically, for doing his job as a lawyer. If he understood how the law works, he wouldn't be doing this. Or he does understand how the law works, but he's deliberately doing this because he knows that he will win ignorant people over with this kind of stuff, or stupid people over, or specifically Muslims over, by attacking this guy for being the defense attorney of Jeffrey Epstein, for example. This is basically what he is doing. He doesn't want to talk about the topic. Now, you could talk about the topic if, for example, Alan Dershowitz during the debate at some point says, "I have a reputation of only defending, great people," and then you could jump in and say,
calls
like
it a credit.
Like,
Goes to credibility, Your Honor. Goes to credibility, right? That's when you bring that up.
But not like this.
Yeah. So I mean, think about this. Like, any criminal defense lawyer who speaks on an issue can say, "Oh, but you defend criminals. You defend criminals. Your job is to defend criminals," right? Like, what's that guy? That lawyer who talks about the Tate stuff and talks about the law stuff.
Bruce
Rivers.
I think so. Yeah,
Bruce Rivers. Yeah. So anyway. Me and AP sometimes watch videos by I think it's Bruce Rivers. It's definitely Bruce. But he's a criminal defense lawyer, but he makes videos explaining the legal side of various issues like Andrew Tate or P. Diddy or any of that stuff. But I mean, imagine if Piers had him on to discuss some issue like Andrew Tate or something like that. And wait a minute, if I recall, wasn't Hijab one of Andrew Tate's biggest defenders? That's a sex trafficking rapist that Hijab is defending. Weird. Where would Mohammed Hijab have gotten the idea that he should be defending a sex trafficking rapist? Oh, because that's what he's been doing his entire life because of his prophet. But think, if Piers had on, if the discussion were about Andrew Tate and Piers had on Bruce Rivers, criminal defense lawyer, to discuss the Tate issue with Mohammed Hijab, one of Tate's biggest defenders, then what would Hijab do? Oh, you're a lawyer, you defend criminals. And so, yes, Bruce Rivers does defend criminals. That is his job. If you are one of the best lawyers in the world, then you are going to defend some of the biggest cases in the world because you're the one they're going to hire. So basically, Alan Dershowitz is being condemned for being one of the best lawyers in the world. And that's the guy that the richest people, the billionaires and so on, would hire to defend them. So shame on him. Shame on him. Shame on you for being such a good lawyer. Wild stuff.
Stay quiet when
hang on. Here's what I would say.
To the merits.
I didn't give you permission.
Mohammed, attacking a lawyer for defending people is a stupid argument.
Well,
right?
I'm not making an argument yet.
Well, you're just using an
I'm not making an argument.
attack straight off the top.
Has he got leverage on you? Is that
No,
why
he's a brilliant
I saw your
lawyer.
picture with Maxwell. He's got leverage on you.
He's a brilliant lawyer.
Did you hear this? He's saying it's because Dershowitz has leverage on him. See, now he's attacking Piers. What an absolute scumbag, man! Like,
you know what he's doing here? He's trying to be part of the pop culture, of the paparazzi. Look what this guy just said about Piers Morgan on his own show, accusing him of having done something with Jeffrey Epstein and his clients. Does Alan Dershowitz have leverage on him?
What he got on you? Does he have dirt on him? Does he have dirt on him? Does he have a dossier of information and he's using it to blackmail you into taking his side in this debate? Yeah, guys, If you don't know what an ad hominem is, if you're talking about the ad hominem in the sense of the fallacy, that's an irrelevant ad hominem. Guess what? Alan Dershowitz gave an argument for what should happen in the Middle East. He actually presented his view on that. That argument stands or falls based on its merits. It wouldn't matter if he had defended 1 trillion of the worst criminals in the world. He's either right about what he said or he's not right. In other words, if he had jumped up there and said 2 + 2 = 4, and Hijab's response was going to be, no, 2 + 2 is not 4. You don't say, oh, well, look at this evil guy. Does 2 + 2 = 4 or not, Hijab? And if you don't think it does, then present your case. Anyway, wild stuff. But what else would we expect from Hijab?
Are you saying that because he's got leverage on
I
you?
met Ghislaine Maxwell for 5 minutes at a book launch.
You look very happy with her.
Well, I didn't know anything about her at the
You look
time,
very
other
happy
than
with
she was
her.
the daughter of the man that
We're talking about the
derailed.
biggest
Daughter of the
sexual
man that-
scandal in the last 100
who I
years.
never
Now they're on the topic of a sexual scandal. Guys, this is the beginning. This is how this starts off. And I'm saying this because I looked at the comments on the video, and it was a bunch of Hijab fans going, oh, you humiliated them. And it's like, so I was thinking, oh, maybe he actually made some points before launching into the antics. Nope, jumped right into the antics.
I just want to say something here. I want to say something here to all the. It's not just Muslims; it's people in general. Most people don't really know what Jeffrey Epstein actually did, what he was actually accused of, what he was actually locked up for, why he actually most likely was killed, and so on. Nobody believes that he actually killed himself. But here is the thing. What Jeffrey Epstein did, this might be breaking news to some people because all people hear is, oh, child trafficking, sex trafficking. What he did is terrible. What he did, however, is not as bad as something that Mohammed did, for example. What he did is to establish relations with famous, popular people, with business people, and then get them into situations where he would trick them into getting into a situation where he would then have a leverage on them and would then start blackmailing them and so on. And this is how he got a big circle. He did that through a major, huge business where he employed women for sexual purposes, mostly for not sexual intercourse or anything like that, but for things like, I don't know, getting drinks, giving you a massage, and things like that. And at that, in that business, he started employing underage girls, including, for example, a 15-year-old girl or a 16-year-old girl. He approaches her and starts doing this whole thing like, "You're a very, very nice girl. You look much older than you actually are. Very impressive," and all that. So he builds this fake relationship with them, and somehow grooms them. Grooming basically means he tries to, he tries to ease them into working for him, gives them money, rewards them for certain things that they do, and then starts having underage girls, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, and so on, suddenly working for him and giving massages and probably doing sexual favors and so on for him and other people, for rich people, for example. I don't know why some people here say, no, don't defend Jeffrey. This is literally what happened.
Yeah,
this
quit
is literally
defending Jeffrey Epstein, you pervert.
Factually what happened. Some people might imagine the whole situation like Jeffrey Epstein had a whole gang and organization and was abducting people in the children, 3-year-olds in the streets and putting them in cages. None of that ever happened. There were no cages, there were no abductions, nothing at all. It is grooming. Understand what grooming means. He hires people, he fools little girls into becoming his employees, uses them then for work of sexual nature, which is illegal across the entire world. To do this with anyone under the age of 18 is sex trafficking. It is human trafficking. He finds one such girl and then tells her, "Hey, how about I'll give you some money and I'll also pay you some commission if you get some more of your friends over here and show them the job and also let them earn some money. They can make really, really good money. I'm going to pay you a lot of money over here." So he he grooms girls like this and continues like that, and suddenly has a lot of underage girls, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, in his business that he then couples with his with famous people or important people, and then uses that as leverage. As far as the court documents show, the youngest girl proven to have been hired by him and lured into sex work was 14 years old. Yes, 14 years old. There are some speculations that he may have had younger girls, but these are just speculations. The only thing that was proven is actually 14 years old, and this is illegal. It's a bad thing, and it's a horrible thing, and it's a very scummy and very disgusting thing to do, because he's taking advantage of young and dumb girls and using them for his own pleasure, for money, for leverage, and so on. This is basically what he did. Now, here is the issue. I agree, like many others in the Western world, that this is a horrible thing to do. This is exploitation, and so on. Why in the world does Mohammed Hijab have a problem with this? Why in the world does Mohammed Hijab make it look like this is the worst thing ever? It's the biggest sex scandal ever.
Yeah, dude. When you're talking about that stuff, it sounds like Andrew Tate. It's a different sort of thing, because Andrew Tate would use the lover boy method, whereas Epstein just has piles of money. He's a billionaire, right? So he could just offer girls tons of money. He didn't have to get them to fall in love with him and so on.
Yes.
But very similar apart from that. And yet, because Tate says something positive about Islam, hijab will defend him to the death. And because Dershowitz is on the opposite side of the issue of Israel, then it's extremely, extremely important.
And the reason that Jeffrey Epstein is considered this horrible example to everyone by now is that he involved a lot of underage girls. That is why people have this whole bad impression of Jeffrey Epstein, rightly so. But why in the world would Mohammed Hijab have a problem with this? Because he follows a prophet who married a 9-year-old girl, and he also says that it's actually totally fine to have a marriage or sexual relations with a little girl as soon as she shows signs of development. The Muslims here are the ones who are actually the ones that we should be worried about, not Jeffrey Epstein. I'm sorry. Mohammed Hijab's worldview is worse than Jeffrey Epstein. So why in the world would he be using Jeffrey Epstein here as this very, very, very bad thing? I'll tell you why. Because this is what will catch on with the public, with the less informed audience that is watching. So he tries to make use of this. It is actually Mohammed Hijab who would be the worst guy here of the two.
And I have to say, yeah, so guys, if you're looking at these three guys, Alan Dershowitz, Piers Morgan, Mohammed Hijab, who actually has more disturbing, disgusting, dangerous views for the world if other people were to take these guys as models and take them seriously? Hijab, by far, has the worst, most disgusting views of anyone on this panel. And he's the one lecturing everyone else because he deliberately put himself into a situation where he knows people don't know anything about Muhammad, and they're not going to go after Muhammad and things like that. So that's why he goes on this situation, but kind of hurt himself because Muslims actually had a pretty good opportunity to get exposure and because Piers wants to invite Muslims on to speak on behalf of the Palestinians and so on. Lately, all they do is they jump on there. They start claiming, nope, it was actually Israel that did everything. They attacked their own people. And then they attack Piers and his guests personally. That's what they do now. And guess what? He's going to stop inviting them. He's going to realize this doesn't work. If I'm just going to invite you on here and you're going to spend all your time, you're going to derail every discussion. You're going to attack me personally, call my character into question, no matter what the topic is, even if it's completely irrelevant. I'm not interested in this. And so people are just going to get sick of these guys over and over again. But so anyway, on the Jeffrey Epstein issue, we'll jump back into this debate now. But the Jeffrey Epstein, so sounds like your theory is Jeffrey Epstein was grooming girls, had a lot of wealthy people, politicians and so on, got evidence of them in very compromising situations, use this as leverage, for the future in case he ever gets in trouble or in case he ever needs anything. And then obviously, I don't know the details, but obviously once he's getting locked up, obviously that is when he's calling in every favor in the world. Hey, you guys with all your power and all your pull, better get me out of this stuff. You get me out of this stuff right now, or I'm going to make a deal with the prosecution saying, hey, you want people having sex with underage girl? I'll give you everybody in the world for a reduced sentence. So you guys let me off after 6 months and stuff because I'll give you all these other guys. And then, oopsie, he gets killed.
And that's where he probably got some leverage on the wrong people who thought, who had too much power to allow him to do that. So they had him killed.
That's the thing. If you're talking about if you're talking about other billionaires and extremely powerful politicians and so on, it is not hard to get someone to take you out. Mm-hmm. All right. And back to this enlightening discussion, illuminating the intricate nuances of the situation in the Middle East with Mohammed Hijab.
Epstein or ever knew him. Alan Dershowitz was wrongly accused of various things in relation to Jeffrey Epstein.
How do you know it's wrongly?
Because they've all been...
Why are you defending him?
They all turned out to be nonsense. He won a court case about it.
Why are you not looking at me when I'm speaking to you?
Well, I can turn to you, but there are three of us involved in this.
Yeah, you're speaking to me, so
okay, let me make things clear. Yeah. I never met Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah. I met Ghislaine Maxwell for 5 minutes.
Yeah, you look very happy in that picture.
Okay, if you want to use that as an ad hominem...
By the way, little side note, notice how Hijab always tries to, he pulls something to control people. Why are you doing this? Why are you looking there? Why are you looking this? Why did you say this? Why did you say this? Why did you say this? I'm a victim. Freaking clown.
But why are you defending him?
Hang on. A picture taken in 2013.
He spoke for 3 minutes, I spoke for 20 seconds.
I'm defending him because your first attack on him is to attack him as a lawyer because he defends bad people.
That's fine.
Here's a little secret for you, Mohammed. All lawyers do that.
No, but hold on, we're not talking about bad people. We're talking about, excuse me, you've had enough speaking. I'm talking about a person who, after the fact, said that he was proud to defend him after the allegations come out. You still wanted to... Do you condemn Dershowitz?
For what?
Do you condemn Dershowitz? Oh, actually, wait a minute. Actually, that was kind of funny. That was kind of funny. Dude, AP, did you catch that? I didn't. I just now caught it. Yeah. That was actually funny, guys, what Hijab just did there. Hijab, okay, it's like 1 to 1 million right now. But you just got that little point because every show, Piers, do you condemn? Do you condemn what Hamas did? Do you condemn? And Hijab just went, do you condemn? That's actually funny.
Defending Epstein.
I have defended.
I'm being proud of defending Epstein.
I'm proud of that. It's not for me to defend
him for that. Some of the best people in the world.
Okay, Alan, you defend yourself.
No, why should he defend himself? I haven't even been talking for 20 seconds.
Alan can defend himself.
But let me speak for more.
What'd you say?
If I was a lawyer, and I did an outstanding job, and I was hired by awesome people or by significant people, by horrible people, and so on. And if I ended up becoming the lawyer of a terrible serial killer and did my best to get fair treatment, even for a serial killer, in front of the law, because that is what I pledged to do as part of my job. If people ask me if I'm proud of having done that, I would also say, yes, I'm proud of it, because that's what you are supposed to do as a lawyer. When you become a lawyer, a defense attorney for such matters, you pledge to do your job even if it seems morally reprehensible and disagreeable to you. That has nothing to do with who you are and what you actually believe. You might not have hurt a single person in your life. You might be contributing to charities and helping people across the street all day, but you might still end up being the defense attorney of a murderer. That's what it is to be a lawyer. It is a job that must be filled by some people. And this guy is still on that case. Man.
But the people... All right, maybe Hijab's going to make a valid point here at some point.
I helped to defend Nelson Mandela. I helped to defend Bill Clinton. I've helped to defend some of the finest people in the world, and I've also helped to defend some of the worst.
Defended. Is that a terrible crime?
He was not...
He just acknowledged. He said, "I've defended some of the best people in the world. I've defended some of the worst people in the world." He acknowledges
that's what you do.
Yeah, by defending them, I'm not agreeing with things they've done. Yes, I have defended horrible, horrible people.
I've never
defending John
justified
Lennon in the same way as he
anything any of
announced
my
that he was
clients
proud of
have done.
defending
I
Epstein.
am
What's this got
proud
to
of
do
my
with
role
Israel?
as a
This has got
defense
to do with
lawyer,
the fact that this
just
man,
like-
the credibility
just like
of this man's
John
on the line.
Adams was
He defends
proud to
Israel on the
defend
one hand,
the
and on the
people-
other hand, he defends.
So, guys, notice what Hijab just did there. How is this? Piers asked him how it's relevant. He said, because the credibility of this man, If you're Hijab, if you're gonna make the person's credibility the requirement before taking anything the person says seriously, your prophet is the least credible person I've ever come across in all of history. And you, sir, are the least credible person. You guys, you, Ali Dawah, you are the biggest liars. You all defend pedophilia. I mean, Ali Dawah openly brags about how he wants to watch people's heads getting chopped off and stuff like that. You are the worst, most despicable people on the planet. I'm not talking about Muslims in general. I'm talking about the Dawah guys. You Dawah guys. You are the worst people in the world defending the most obvious false prophet in history. If you want to say, hey, because of these things that you promote, like sex with children and so on, if you want to make your character the standard, I would never take anything any of you say seriously ever again. And according to Hijab, that should be every single debate. If he is ever in any debate, then according to Hijab, the arguments are secondary. What's primary is the person's credibility. Remember, I've said it a million times. They attack the person, not the actual argument. They discredit the person. They don't try to refute the argument. And it's on display here. But if Hijab wants to make that the standard, what matters is not the person's argument or the person's evidence. It's the person's credibility that matters. Okay, that should be every debate. In other words, anytime Mohammed Hijab steps on stage, whatever the argument is, his opponent should go up there and just list all the screwed up things Mohammed Hijab says about Western women who criticize Islam actually deep down are waiting to be raped, and that's what they want. Talking about sucking on his another Muslim's wife's tit and so on. That's what should get brought up every single discussion about this guy. It should always be that person's character. I'm pointing this out because for future reference, ladies and gentlemen, when this comes up, and Hijab is debating someone needs to go ahead and do this and hold him to his own standard. You said this, Hijab. You said that what matters is the person who's bringing the argument, that person's credibility. You are the least credible person on the planet because of your despicable, disgusting views. That's what should be said.
Epstein. I think the public should know this.
Do you want me to play? Do you want me to play the clips?
He's proud of it.
Mohammed, do you want me to play the clips of you
And I don't know.
do the rounds on social media saying some very inflammatory
no problem.
things? Do you want me to?
Why are you not looking at me?
Because I'm looking at the three of us.
I'm right
here. You can
here.
turn to me, then the viewers see me and you looking
at me man to man.
Fine.
Look at me man to man. Look at my eyes.
Yes, it's called an aesthetic thing for videos.
Okay, now, the first thing I wanted to say was that this man's credibility is something which is shocking that we're even entertaining.
What do you base it on?
On the fact that he actually defended Epstein, and after the fact, he said he was proud of it. He was in Epstein's vicinity. He had a massage in his vicinity. This is the kind of person that we're having on the show defending Israel. That's the first thing I want to say.
We need more noble people like my prophet, who took a 9-year-old girl and destroyed her forever.
This is the thing. If you attack somebody because that person is a lawyer and represents bad people in front of the law, alongside lots of good people, as he also did, including Donald Trump, for example, by the way, everybody, then you are basically saying that people who are accused of having done bad things should not have defense attorneys, because you are shaming defense attorneys for defending people who are accused of having done bad things. So this means you believe in a society, in a state that has no law, that has no proper legal system, where you simply judge without listening to, and then just, I don't know, lock away or execute people if they are accused of having done bad things, which is basically actually what Mohammed Hijab wants. No wonder that he has a problem with a lawyer.
The second thing is, in the first interaction where me and you were talking about October the 7th, we spent about 3 or 4 minutes actually talking about sexual assault allegations, if you remember that. And actually here, what we have is Israeli soldiers like Mir from Unit 100 and that's on The Guardian, it's on Sky News, it's on all these kinds of platforms, coming out, and there's videographic evidence of him raping another man. I haven't heard condemnation from you, and I don't expect to hear it from him who defended Epstein. But this shows you the bias in the coverage for a year.
For the record, if some dude is raping another man, I condemn it. Just if there's any, I don't know what the details are. I'm not familiar with this, but if a dude is raping another dude, I condemn it. Hijab. Does that make you feel better? I also condemn your prophet raping a 9-year-old girl.
Well, we know the ICJ have said that there's a plausible genocide.
You haven't been watching my show.
I think I have.
No, you haven't.
Have you spoken about me?
You're talking complete bullshit.
Okay, tell me why.
Right?
Tell me why.
Because A, I did condemn what you've just talked about in a previous debate.
Good.
Right?
Dershowitz, do you condemn it?
Yes, of course. I condemn any rape of anybody and any assault on anybody who's in captivity.
And you also condemn the right.
Say it, Alan. All you have to do is say, like your prophet raped that prepubescent little girl, Aisha. That's all you had to say. It was done. It was like they would have taken that moment and they would have put the Thug Life glasses down on you with da 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 da. That would have happened. That would have happened right there. You missed it. You missed your chance, man. Guys, come ask us something beforehand next time.
The right of rape protest that took place in Israel.
There was no right.
If any rapes took place, they will be investigated. They will be.
What was that, AP? What
there was no right to rape protest. He's repeating. He's repeating.
Is that that thing? Is that behind the shields thing? Is that what that's about?
That's what it all came from.
Okay.
God. So I'll make this very, very short. There is a detention camp where they detained a lot of Hamas members, mainly Hamas operatives, but also others. And there were rumors that there was a sexual abuse that took place at that detention camp. When this came out, and the IDF or the Israeli Army Police was pressured on this, they started looking into it and then actually detained several IDF reservist soldiers that were in charge, that were there at that detention camp, who were accused of having, or who were suspected of having committed some sexual abuse against a Hamas member. So they took these people in, the military police. As a response to that, some parts of the religious population and the religious right in Israel started standing up and saying, how dare you treat our reservist soldiers like this and detain them in the middle of a war and demoralize them as if they were a bunch of guilty people. Release them now. So this is, and then protests started for the release of these detained reservist IDF soldiers. Some people then started calling this, in a malicious way, like Al Jazeera and other the regular anti-Israel sources started calling this the right to rape protest. They started claiming that these people are saying the IDF should have the right to rape people. And that there is nothing wrong with this. This is not what happened. Nobody said. It was never established that these guys actually raped Palestinians, and nobody went out there saying it's okay to rape, let them go. That's not what happened. There was controversy about abuse, and what actually came out, he just mentioned the name Meir. Meir something was the one suspected guy who is on camera apparently handling something when they take a Hamas terrorist, by the way, behind a group of shields, and it seems that he's doing something with his hands to that Hamas terrorist. And what they claim is that they were searching him because he inserted something in his butt to to hide or to get away. And there are different details on what actually happened, that they took it out and tortured him in the process, or that they inserted something in his behind and so on. Something like that happened. If you see the video, you can actually watch the video. You can see it. Nobody is raping or gang raping a Palestinian detainee. First off, although I'm completely against rape or anything like that, we're talking about a Hamas terrorist, not about a regular civilian. Secondly, what you see on the clear footage is there is a search dog that is going crazy, and you have a bunch of Israeli reservist soldiers, including one specifically who is behind the terrorist and who is doing with his hands something. And leave it up to speculation what they did. Were they searching his butt? Were they inserting something in his butt? Were they taking out something of his butt? Whatever it is, that's it. That's it. There was no gang rape or mass rape caught on camera.
So it's a mystery what happened behind the shields. It's a he said situation.
Yeah.
And so the protest would have been, okay, unless you really, really know what happened and condemn this person, then you shouldn't be detaining these guys over this stuff until you actually have a solid case other than what a Hamas terrorist said happened, something like that. But this would have been a perfect time to, Mohammed Hijab. So you would have a problem. We don't know what actually happened. By the way, both of them condemned it. So we both condemn that. But Mohammed Hijab, you seem to have a problem with the idea of doing something like this. What do you think of Mohammed having his followers start a fire on a man's chest to find out where some money was hidden? What do you think of that? And what do you think about them starting a fire on a man, then killing him, and then Mohammed banging his wife, Sophia?
Yeah.
Are you fine with all that? Are you fine with all that? Guys, that's what I'm talking about. Flip it back. Because this fake rage on his face, what would Mohammed Hijab do if he caught some Jewish people? If he caught some IDF soldiers, what would he do? Probably some really bad stuff, right? Pretty bad stuff. So does he actually believe that things are wrong, that you really need to treat people respectfully? No, that's not what he believes. That's not what his fake prophet believed. And yet he's again, the person with the worst, most disgusting moral views of anyone in this discussion. That's the guy who always puts himself into a situation where he's lecturing other people on morality. Disgusting individual.
Fully investigated. They will be
court-martialed. Do you acknowledge that there's a problem in Israeli
society? And if anybody is convicted of that, they deserve their punishment.
Do you acknowledge that there's a problem in
What about the problem with...
No, I don't acknowledge that there's a problem anywhere in Israeli society. Thank you for that, Hijab. We can't go I can't watch 10 seconds of this without him saying something insane and stupid.
Hamas. Raping women.
I have no compunction.
On October the 7th.
I have no compunction condemning Hamas for anything that they've done. You've said that. You've asked me before, and I've told you before. I have no moral scruple. Neither do the majority of the Muslim world. I tell you now, really? Anything that Hamas has done, we have condemned in the first instance. But we're not seeing the same level of coverage.
Pause. Do you remember, David, many months ago at the beginnings of this whole conflict, do you remember what Daniel Akic said? Anyone who condemns October 7, who condemns what Hamas did, is an enemy of Islam, or something along those lines. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And here's Mohammed Hijab saying that, we have no problem condemning things that Hamas did. And most Muslims have no... First off, BS, most Muslims don't even acknowledge what Hamas did on that day.
Mm-hmm.
The mass rapes, the mass killing, the mass burning, the mass...
I've seen that repeatedly on Piers's show. Muslims saying... Muslims saying, no, that never happened. No, that's all a lie. And then Piers actually having to go, no, there were investigations. These things did happen. And the guy just, nope, never happened. Happens repeatedly.
Yep. That's true.
Hamas, as we are seeing, with these people that are shoving rods off people's ass and raping people on video.
What's funny, both these guys just said they condemn it. And Hijab's going on and on. Well, we condemn it, but they won't condemn it. Both guys just said they condemn it. This is weird.
Graphic evidence, and you have 3,000 people. You talk about the hostages. You've got 3,000 people in essentially captivity, according to Human Rights Watch and B'Tselem, who are prisoners of war of Israel, and we are spending a fraction of the time speaking about them as compared to speaking about the hostages. This shows you the inherent bias.
There's no comparison. There's no comparison between innocent hostages who did nothing wrong and people who are being charged with criminal offenses.
They're not charged with criminal offenses. That's why you're meant to know better. You're meant to know better than that.
But they are charged with security offenses.
But you can't compare.
They are
arrested without charge.
You can't
They are
compare a
arrested without
3-year-old
charge. They're not
baby.
charged with criminal
Don't
offences.
shout
You
over
can't
each other. We can't hear the answer.
He's
Can't
lying to the
compare a
public.
3-year-old
Allow him to
baby
respond.
Go
to
ahead.
somebody who's a member of Hamas.
Funny how Hijab always acts like he takes control. Go ahead. I give you permission. I give you permission to carry on.
Say that
Sorry,
again.
Adam, we couldn't hear you because he was shouting.
I was shouting. Say it
Alan,
again.
he says the 3,000...
I'm saying you can't compare
Alan,
a
he says the
3-year-old
3,000...
baby.
Alan, just to be clear, he said the 3,000 people he's talking about were all arrested without charge, and therefore they've not been charged with crimes. Your response to that?
Well, if they were, they should be released. Nobody should be arrested
Good
without
boy.
charge. If you're
Good
held for a
boy.
security
So-
reason.
Yeah, do you hear that? He's actually agreeing with Hijab and supporting what he just said. Hey, if you're not charged, you should be released, and Hijab has to insult him anyway. He just got Alan Dershowitz to agree with something he said, and he instantly starts, "Good boy," like a dog. Good boy. Good boy.
Not been charged with crimes. Your response to that?
Well, if they were, they should be released. Nobody should be arrested
Good
without
boy.
charge. If you're
Good
held for a
boy.
security
Don't be so
reason.
pathetic.
I will
during
say
the
what I
war-
want. It's uncensored. Good boy.
Let me
Everybody's
finish, please.
pathetic.
Let me
It's
make my
childish.
point.
Try and have a
Can I
proper
make my
debate.
point,
I'll
please?
say what I like.
Can I make my point? Let me make my point. Great Britain confined tens of thousands of people without charges during the Second World War.
Two wrongs
The
don't
United
make a
States
right.
Did the same.
Two wrongs don't
I
make a right.
was
Should we talk about what
strongly
Hitler done?
opposed.
Let's talk about what
Please
Hitler
let
done.
me make my point.
Now he wants to talk about Hitler. What a freaking clown. It's like, I mean, think about this. I mean, think about the entire thing he did. He goes, here's a topic. Alan Dershowitz gives his opening. Hijab instantly, from his first sentence, derails the discussion to talk about Alan Dershowitz, like him personally. And then they start on that, and then he derails that and goes on to something else, and then derails that. And it's a series of keeping people from ever addressing the actual topic. This is, my goodness, what a character.
I just want to say two things, which is, I mean, just look at how pathetic this is. You have this one guy who is young and who's shouting, who is bragging about how fantastic he is and how he humiliates others. He is bullying right here this 86-year-old man who has a huge career of doing actual serious, incredibly respectable stuff. One of the most respected and well-known lawyers in the world. He's just simply trying to respond to a question. The guy is 86 years old, and this guy is just shouting at him and saying, "Good boy, good boy,
good little dog. Good little dog, you're my dog. I can say what I want. You're the worst of creatures. The Quran is right. You're the worst of creatures. Psalm 98 verse 6. I give you permission to speak." And then his fans, "Well, great job, Hijab. Great job. You do such a you make us all so proud of the job you do."
You really put that elderly man in his place.
It seems really parallel to like all the protests and so on, right? All the free Palestine protests, like where they'll like all they do is try to annoy everyone and like block traffic and scream and so on. And you ask people, you walk up to people, "Hey, what are you saying?" "We're saying from the river to the sea." "What river?" "I don't know." "What sea?" "I don't know." And then they'll just try to shout you down. It's like that. You're not trying to make any sort of coherent point. You're just trying to annoy people into keeping their mouths shut. Like, "Hey, if you don't agree with anything I say, I will just annoy the crap out of you all day, every day until you submit." And we find the same thing from their champion debaters here.
And a very brief point, he's saying that Israel detains people, thousands of people without charges. Yes, you're talking about Israel detaining people, certain people without charges for periods of time for posing possible security threats. You know who else does it? Every single state that is at war or that is dealing with a violent conflict in a territory that has to be controlled with military conditions, including the United States in Iraq or Afghanistan and anywhere else, including the NATO, not NATO, when they are going somewhere into a war zone. So ridiculous.
So you say,
opposed to that. I wrote an article against
Good boy.
administrative detention. But you
Good.
can't compare that, no
Good.
matter how
Can you
bad
stop
it
this,
is.
Mohammed? It's
You
very
can't
very
compare it
tedious already.
to 3-year-olds being
Debating.
kidnapped, to people
listening to his
being
voice.
raped and murdered. You can't compare what happened on October 7th to what Israel has done.
Yes, you can't,
in terms
because
of
on the one
security
hand,
prisoners.
you've got
There's
30,000
no
people, and the other hand,
comparison
you've got
at
about
all.
100.
And stop
That's
interrupting
30
me,
times
please.
more. That's 30 times more. If you want us to take you seriously, if you want us to take this coverage seriously, if you want us to take Western media seriously, then let's, for God's sake, talk about proportionality as your favorite word. We're talking about 30,000 people detained in prisons on the one hand, and 100 people who are hostages. And yet we have managed...
That's not what proportionality means, you absolute imbecile.
Yeah, what
That's
a
not
dope.
what proportionality means. That's not what it means. That's not what proportionality. Proportionality in warfare is a concept which is about whether it is justified or not in a certain situation to carry out a military operation, depending on whether the risk to civilians is worth the necessity of the operation that you are carrying out. That is what proportionality means. It has nothing to do with how many people you detain or kill versus how many people the other side detains or kills. Has nothing to do with it at all.
Somehow to spend way more time
Hang on,
proportionally...
you said 3,000 a minute ago. Which one is it? 3,000?
Sorry, 3,000. 3,000.
But
Stand
not
corrected.
30,000.
Not 30.
Okay, well,
3,000.
get your numbers right if you're going to make that comment.
Okay,
Hey, Piers did it to him. Piers did it to him.
because I misspoke.
Exaggerated
Not a problem.
10 times.
Not a problem. He spoke about...
Said you exaggerated 10 times. This would have been a perfect time for Piers to say, just like you did when you gave that 100 to 1 ratio in our first discussion. Would you like to explain that, Hijab? That's what you should do, Piers.
Iran, let me ask you a question
I'll
about
tell you
it.
what, let me ask the question.
Sure, go
and
ahead.
you guys try and
Go
debate
ahead.
it.
I won't
At the
answer
moment,
it, but
Alan
go ahead.
Dershowitz is being very
I give you
civilized in
permission.
the way he's debating.
I'm sure you're going to say that.
You're just making
might have
ad
leverage
hominem
on you.
attacks and shouting all
He's
the
your
time.
friend.
No one can understand it when you
Have you
shout
met him
all the time.
before?
I know Alan well.
Oh, you know him well.
I respect him very much.
Oh, yes, you
This
do.
is
He's one of America's top lawyers.
Top lawyers.
Yeah.
He just keeps doing it every
And you're
5
an
seconds.
unbiased person here on Central.
An unbiased person about Alan Dershowitz. Why?
Does he have leverage on you, Piers Morgan?
There's no leverage on me, no.
You've got a picture with Maxwell.
Yes, with Ghislaine
Did you go to the island?
No, I've never been to the island. I've never met Jeffrey Epstein.
Be honest.
I never spent more than 5 minutes with
Be
Ghislaine
honest.
Maxwell. I've answered you. So what part?
He got a picture. He said he saw her for 5 minutes, got a picture with, what's her name? Ghislaine, whatever, Maxwell. And this is becoming the topic of discussion thanks to Mohammed Hijab. You had a photograph with someone. Therefore, does he have leverage on you? Or do we have photos of you banging a 15-year-old in the Jeffrey Epstein island? You see?
The bad thing is that the online viewers are full of Muslims who are very, 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 very low, and who basically like, yeah, you showed him when you yelled at him and said something about Jeffrey Epstein. And then you have the good thing is that after this interview, you can see on Twitter especially lots of people who are against Islam, who are against Mohammed Hijab, or people who don't know who Mohammed Hijab is and who are watching this for the first time. Those people, the neutral ones and the opposing side, all say, what in the world is this? Please get this guy out of our face, away from our TVs. Please never again invite this guy back.
Yeah,
this is only appealing to Muslims.
That's all of Dawah right now, right? It's Dawah is now just trying to impress your fans with chest thumping, and everyone else is watching and going, what is this? What is this mess? And I have to say, hurting his case, because there would be people who tuned into this to say, oh, okay, yeah, we're going to have a discussion with this Alan Dershowitz. Oh, and a Muslim? Oh, wow, this could be an interesting discussion about Israel. And they're watching this going, whoa, this is the stupidity and insanity that Israel has to deal with? This is what they're up against? This level of stupidity and insanity?
Do you condemn him being on the island?
He's your good friend.
You can ask
No, I'm asking, do you condemn him?
about Jeffrey Epstein.
You had a massage.
He represented him.
He said he didn't take his shorts off.
Do you know what?
That's
None of
that's
this
what
has
he
got
said.
anything to do with Israel.
He said he didn't take his shorts off when he was getting a
Can you
massage.
please,
What does
Mohammed,
that
Why is this
actually-
uncomfortable?
It's nothing to do.
This is very important to the issue of Israel and the Palestinians. Israel's at war in Gaza, but think about it. This man says he didn't take his shorts off for a massage. How can this conversation continue until we address this? What a freaking dope.
The debate.
He didn't take his shorts off, but he's got his pants down now, hasn't he?
Can you stop it?
Why?
What's the point?
Why? He
Because it's
defended one of the
actually-
most obnoxious people in the last 100 years. Why should I
Because
stop it?
actually, what is going on right
should I
now
stop it?
in the Middle East is incredibly important.
Yes, and you have this
trivialise-
man.
This seems like a guy who seriously just has no important point to make, and so doesn't even try to make a point.
He just called somebody else the most obnoxious person.
Yeah, not Hijab, not Hijab.
You are trivialising this. Well, if you didn't want to do a debate, don't agree to do it.
Yeah.
Who said I'm not doing a debate? I'm
Exactly.
saying this person
So
who's
come on and
defending
make
Israel.
stupid ad hominem attacks is pathetic.
Oh, okay. All right. He's your good friend. You want to defend him so much.
What are you talking about?
You're defending him.
Huh?
You're defending him. You're defending a monster.
I'm
a pervert. An old pervert.
He's not a pervert or a...
He's saying someone else is defending an old pervert. Hijab literally spends all day, every day defending a freaking 54-year-old who banged a prepubescent 9-year-old girl. And his problem is with an 86-year-old lawyer for defending people because he was hired for that job. This is insane, man. This is insane. Mohammed Hijab, everyone. Mohammed Hijab. Wow, 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 wow.
monster.
Islam is about allowing to have sex with 9-year-old girls. That is basically what Islam is. Wait, sorry. That is what Islam is.
Hey, your mic's not working.
Working now?
No, it sounds like it's picking up through your computer or something.
Okay, continue.
Not. He knew Epstein, and for us, there's good info.
Why are you doing this, Mohammed?
Why not?
Because it's pointless. You may get a few
Okay,
clicks
ask
on...
your questions.
You might get a
Ask
few
your questions.
clicks on it.
It's
So what?
It's not.
Ask your questions.
Let me be very clear. It's not pointless. He just called me a pervert. He will be sued now
that's
for defamation,
It's
and we will be
defamation,
able
it's
to resolve
honest
this
opinion. In the
in
UK,
a
we have
court of
different
law. I
defamation
guarantee you that he will be sued.
In
for
my
calling me a
understanding, you
pervert.
are a pervert.
He just said, I guarantee you will be sued. And Hijab said we have different laws in the UK. The UK is actually more strict, isn't it? On talking?
Yeah. In the US, you can call people anything, and it's much harder to get a case as it is in the UK for that. This guy is seriously challenging one of the most well-known lawyers in the world on the law in his country versus in the US after repeatedly accusing this guy on TV in the front of thousands of people, soon over 1 million people, of having done completely perverted things. I hope Alan Dershowitz sues the hell out of him and gives this guy a good lesson.
And we'll be watching. There's a trial. We'll be watching. Thank you, Ali Dawa.
Be able to resolve
honest
this
opinion. In
in
the
a
UK, we have
court of
different
law. I
defamation
guarantee you that he will be sued.
In
for
my
calling
understanding,
me a
you are a
pervert. The
pervert
woman
because
who
you are
falsely
acquainted with
accused
Jeffrey
me
Epstein.
has now withdrawn her.
Did you see what Hijab just did? He says, it's my understanding that you're a pervert because you are acquainted with Jeffrey Epstein. What now, guys, that is so ridiculous, right? Like, if you're acquainted, if you were his lawyer or something like that, if you did anything, if you ever met Jeffrey Epstein, if you took a picture with Epstein's assistant at any point, I will call you a pervert. Hijab, that you are not helping yourself right there.
Oh, I've got my own definition.
If you have ever associated with somebody who has committed a crime, then you're a criminal.
Yeah. Guys, because he just tried to save himself. Well, my understanding is you're a pervert if you've ever associated with a pervert, and therefore I can call you a pervert. Following that reasoning, Mohammed Hijab, I could say that following your reasoning, Hijab, someone could say that since you defend a pedophile, Mohammed, therefore you are a pedophile. No, you could defend the pedophile without yourself being a pedophile, right? So that would be false. But For some reason, if I were to say, oh, what I mean by pedophile is someone who defends a pedophile or follows a pedophile or something, that would not hold up in court. Hijab, it wouldn't.
This is so funny. He's just incriminating himself now after
Bad stuff.
by trying to save him. We're very, very stupid. I hope that Alan Dershowitz is serious on this, and I hope he actually sues him.
Yeah,
That would be glorious.
if
The bad thing about this is that I don't know if that's actually bad, but the bad thing is that it might give Mohammed Hijab the thing that he wants, which is like this pop culture paparazzi attention. The good thing would be that he would be that he would really suffer.
Yeah, and we would probably pretty quickly start seeing Mohammed Hijab post all these clarifications on Twitter. No, I'm not saying that he's a pervert. Just in my dictionary, the Mohammed Hijab dictionary, when I say pervert, I mean you have defended a pervert, blah, 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 blah.
Cases. I know the
and
law very well here.
acknowledge that
You
she
can't
may
threaten
have
me.
confused me with
I know the
somebody
law very
else,
well.
and
I
calling me
consider
a
you to be a
pervert
pervert
will
because of your
result
connection with
in
Jeffrey
a
Epstein.
defamation lawsuit
Sure,
in an
I'm ready for
American
it.
court
I'm
and in a
ready.
British
I'm ready
court.
for the
I
lawsuit.
assure you of that.
I believe
Let's
you
move
are
on to
old.
Israel.
He said American court and British court, so he's going to sue him in both. That is interesting stuff.
Why don't we move
We'll
on to the
resolve
debate?
this in
You're an old
court.
pervert.
Let's move on to
You're an old pervert.
Israel.
It's
Wow,
really,
he's
this
just
is
really-
there any point considering this?
Do you want to throw the towel?
No, what's the point?
Do you want
I'm
to
not
throw
doing the
the
debate
towel?
you were booked to.
That was
What
actually
a
funny.
child!
Do you want to throw in the towel? Do you want to throw in the towel? Okay, that's a good little
No,
pause
what a
point for us to
freaking child.
take some super chats here.
What
'Cause,
a child!
do you want to throw in the towel? Look how
What a big baby man child! What?
Yeah, guys, think about what just happened. There, Piers really. I mean, you have to question his intentions when he gets Mohammed Hijab on, knowing how Hijab has acted in the past. But at the beginning, he really did try to, hey guys, let's try and keep. I understand Hijab. What you don't want to do is just start launching into personal attacks. Seems like he really tried, but then, do you want to throw in the towel? Look how completely thoroughly I derailed this conversation so that no one will ever defend Palestine here. Wow. D. Wood, I'm sure you know, Jews read the Torah portion every week. This past week, we read Deuteronomy 32, 42, 42. Deuteronomy 32, 40 to 42. For I lift up my hand to heaven and swear as I live forever, if I sharpen my flashing sword and my hand takes hold on judgment, I will take vengeance on my adversaries and will repay those who hate me. I will make my arrows drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh with the blood of the slain and the captives from the long-haired heads of the enemy. Talking about repercussions there, repercussions.
Based.
AP idea for your AI music hobby. Shia versus Sunni rap battle. Shia's rapping, mocking Aisha's age. Sunni reply, rapping about Abu Talib's nipples. Who wins? Hey guys, it's in Shia sources where Muhammad was breastfed by his uncle, who was miraculously empowered by Allah to feed Muhammad, little baby Muhammad, who was sucking on his uncle's nipples. Let's see. Devil versus Christ, Satan versus people of God, true church and true Israel equals God's people. The closer to God equals more hated one is. Christians should learn Bible prophecies, mind-changing, eyes opening. No, but what about Helen Berthowitz? You left that part out. Beautiful write-up from AP on Stacklebeck show today.
On what?
Beautiful write-up from AP on Stacklebeck show today. You got a beautiful write-up.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Is that
What does
associated?
Stacklebeck mean?
That's a
I
show,
don't know what
man.
that means.
That's a show. The dude has a show. I'm just saying.
I
Is
don't
that
know what
about you or is that about the Associated Press?
Probably about the Associated Press.
Look up Associated Press Stacklebeck show. Shlomi says, it's funny that he speaks when his best example is Muhammad, the world-famous pedophile. Yes, that is the great irony in all of this. You pick any one of these guys. Dershowitz, Epstein, anyone. Muhammad is worse. And Muhammad did it in a superior fashion to Epstein, Andrew Tate, any of these guys. Mohammed made it part of his religion. If you get people to say, oh, and he's a prophet who wants to bang little girls and torture people to find out where money is hidden and then bang the guy's wife after killing him and so on. I want to take the wife of my own son. It's just, oh, Allah is telling me to do all this. Allah. Then you for the next 1400 years, you got people defending you for everything you've done. So it is the epitome. It is the epitome of successful sex trafficking. Oh, that was a thank you, Ayatollah. Let's see. He says, Mr. Paparazzi. Mr. Paparazzi. Urinating Broom says the debate didn't even last 10 seconds when Mojab started speaking. It literally got derailed and ruined in 10 seconds. Yeah, that's the funny part, because we knew it was going to happen. I said it before I saw it. I posted it on Twitter, and everyone agreed, yes, Hijab is going to completely derail it. We know him by now. He is entirely predictable. He thinks he's unpredictable. Oh, I'm going in for a debate. Well, I will do this. We know what you're going to do, Hijab. You want to shock everyone, Hijab? Stick to a topic for once. And don't. Matter of fact, you want to impress everyone and shock everyone with something we completely do not expect. Stick to a topic, and don't do anything dirty or slimy. We would be shocked. Our minds would be blown. Jeffrey Epstein took inspiration from Mo. Yes, but he wasn't as strong. In Berliner says, Abi Dawood 45:33, the typical position of Islam on adultery. To be credible, 4 witnesses must see the act of adultery, or is the sword enough witness? You normally need a confession or 4 witnesses.
Wait, Stackleback is this guy? He's that commentator? Oh.
Yeah.
I recently, just a few days ago, came across this guy for the first time in my life and started listening and thought, hey, this guy's actually kind of cool. And kind of liked what he had to say.
Okay. So what? Is AP got something to do with you, or is that Associated Press?
I still have no idea what that was about.
But, okay. Yeah. I refuse to believe that Muslims gave dawah in the same manner as Mojab since 632 AD. People convert because of Muslims like him. Must be via violence. Hobocop. No, we pointed out this was not. Dawah was very different just 10 years ago. In fact, Hijab is probably the one who's most responsible for the shift. If you had people like Ahmed Deedat and Zakir Naik, yes, they were trying to impress their own people. They were kind of even in terms of trying to convince other people and trying to convince their own people. You had people like Shabir Ali who were like hand-selected for sounding good to non-Muslims. So for a while, Dawah was reaching out and impressing non-Muslims. When Hijab came along, that's when you'd already had so many instances of apostasy and so on that people were becoming nervous about young people leaving Islam. That's when Hijab stepped in and I will impress the Muslims so that they know we're strong and you can't leave or you'll be weakling. So he started with the antics, which guess what? Did impress Muslims a lot more. They were no longer trying to convince non-Muslims. Their main goal was to convince Muslims that Islam is strong, and you show how strong you are by thumping your chest and saying everyone else is a little weakling. And so that's what Dawah is now. And so now the situation is, yes, it's better for showing your Dawah fans that Islam is strong, but to everyone else, it looks like a giant joke. It looks like the biggest joke in history. So, yeah, what you're seeing is what lots of people are seeing right now.
That's what they do.
Sancho says, I had a neighbor like Mo for years, master manipulator of conversation, always starting trouble. Once I learned to outright ignore the distracting tactics and force them to address the true topic, they ended up running away every time. That's Dawah in a nutshell. That's why they won't engage anymore, and that's why they only try to derail discussions. The deep state got to AP. He's compromised. That's true. Arabs getting on their high camel about Epstein is always a hilarious line of questioning. It is. You just wish. Keep in mind, Hijab would not have done this, would not have pulled a stunt like this to anyone who knows about Muhammad and is willing to call out Muhammad. He wouldn't have done it. Because it would have instantly turned to Muhammad's character, and he would not have liked that. D. Wood, do you have any recommended books in apologetics?
Hey, what? This is a video idea.
What?
Video idea: Epstein versus Mohammed, and make an actual genuine comparison, and in all seriousness, talk about uh, how Jeffrey Epstein was in comparison to Mohammed, for example. So, and seriously analyze, since Mohammed Hijab and others try to make use of this popular trend of jumping on that one because that's what everybody dislikes and everybody has that in common. Let's analyze that topic and compare Mohammed to Jeffrey Epstein and then see what happens.
I've already done that. Mohammed met Jeffrey Epstein in the Boom Boom Room. I don't have it on this.
More serious, a more serious actual analysis.
What's more serious than the Boom Boom Room? That's life or death, man. What is your problem? The Boom Boom Room is life or death, man. People get blown up. You heard everyone getting blown up is not serious enough for AP. I don't have this on my computer right now, but I'm gonna download it. Maybe we watch this if we get sick of get sick of Mohammed Hijab here. All right, that's downloading. I have to download it and then send it over. Anyway. The chosen one. D. Wood, do you have any recommended books in apologetics to Christianity? I feel like I've read and watched a lot on polemics against Islam. Apologetics kind of depends on what level you're talking about. Lee Strobel's books, Case for Christ and stuff like that, Case for Faith and so on. Those are good places to start. Mike Licona and Gary Habermas's Case for the Resurrection of Jesus is good. That's specifically like Christian topics. If you're talking about like existence of God type stuff, it kind of depends because you can go in a scientific direction, philosophical direction. There's like introductory level stuff. There's advanced level stuff. So, but I'm sure people in the chat can give recommendations based on what you're looking for. Let's see. Urinating Broom. Did Epstein preach monotheism? If so, Mojab might consider him a valid prophet. Yeah, that'd be funny. Who says Alan Dershowitz should have shouted, well, at least the girls with Epstein weren't 9. Oh, that would have been Thug Life glasses. Viewers, please Google Sahih al-Bukhari 5134. I already put 5133 on the screen. Let me see. I might have 5134. No, I don't, but there's a bunch of them. But yeah, just to recap, 5133, that's one I usually go to just because it introduces the chapter. And that's where they say giving one's young children in marriage is permissible by virtue of the statement of Allah. And for those who have no monthly courses, i.e. they're still immature, and the iddah for the girl before puberty, they make it very clear. It's like they're saying, hey, how can we make it any more clear? We're talking about banging prepubescent little girls. Before puberty, before puberty, before puberty. They want to make it very, very, very clear to everyone. And Mo Peshab would go crazy. Yes, he would indeed. He would indeed. Couple more. Mumo says, a man that calls rapists, child abusers, terrorists, freedom fighters, judges, one of the greatest legal minds in America. Momo Hijab is a devil nutcase. Good description. Mogilla Gorilla added again, I'll do what I like. I'll do what I like. Great babe. Great babe. That's a different gorilla. But what would you guess Mojab had an abusive father or an overbearing mother? No idea.
Don't want to speculate.
Don't want to speculate. Mojab seems obsessed with looking men in the eyes and asking if they have their shorts on. He was doing that, right? Look me in the eye. Don't you have a short on right now? Don't you have a short on? Let's talk about massages. Massages right now. Look at me. Look at me in my face. Look at me with those beautiful eyes, Piers. Piercing eyes. I see why they call you Piers, because your eyes are piercing my soul. Speaking of piercing things, let me tell you about Muhammad and Daya al-Kalbi. What is this religion, man?
Mohammed Hijab is the perfect description of a narcissist. That's what it is. I'm not sure about his parents or whatever. Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah. Let's see. He better not break that promise to sue him. That would be the trial of the decade. By the way, you guys truly helped me stay away from the cult of Islam. Thanks. That's what we do. That's what we do. Yeah, we do want to see that case, though. We do want to see that case. Inshallah, Hijab will be sued. Indeed. Should be finished. Mohammed Hijab, Ali Dawa, Zakir Naik are the worst of creature. David Wood and the Apostate Prophet, a better debater, still waiting on Zakir Naik to debate. Zakir Naik, you're never going to see Zakir Naik debate ever again. He was smart enough to do 2 debates, 20-some years ago against people no one had ever heard of, and then to walk away claiming that he was the all-time champion debater, having never once faced an actual debater. Mohij was 3 times on Piers Morgan, so he believes in Trinity. 3 appearances on one show? How is this possible? Is 1 + 1 + 1 = 1 in Islam? Are Muslims impressed by this guy? He's pathetic. Yes, they are, sadly. And that tells everyone a lot about Islam. I couldn't imagine a more deserving community to have this complete and utter buffoon to be one of their leaders than the Abduls. Mohammed Hijab exudes weakness. That does. When you are called into a topic and you always have to derail it, that may come across as strong to your people. It comes across as incredibly weak to people who are looking at that going, this is what you do when you have to address a topic. You can't touch it. You have to divert. Why does Mojab like talking about another grown man's shorts? He does have a weird fixation on talking about what this other guy's doing and what he was wearing from the waist down. From Abram. What's it from Abram mean? Magnifico Gigantica says, is there a name for an inept dominatrix debate style? Up next, Piers Morgan Uncensored. Nick Fuentes versus RuPaul.
Fuentes. Hey, did you notice he did this whole thing again? When he kept saying, good boy. Piers said to him, Mohammed, please stop it. He said, I can say whatever I want. This is uncensored. Yeah. He did again the whole thing where he doesn't understand what free speech and what uncensored means.
Yes, if you say uncensored, then it means I can say anything I want. Piers, all you had to do right there. Well, fine. Since that's how you're interpreting it, I'm just going to call your prophet a pedophile every 2 seconds until you shut up. Amateur philosopher here says, David, your videos are hilarious and informative. That's true. That's what I do. And Mojab in the boom boom room, but he disrespects Mo. He does every time he. You can literally take every complaint Mohammed Hijab has about everyone else that he constantly complains about and show that he is blasting away at Mohammed every step of the way.
And there'll be a funny video of Mohammed Hijab going there and acting toward Mohammed like everybody, like he always does with everybody else.
Oh yeah, that would be.
So you married a little child, didn't you? You married a girl, didn't you? A girl, didn't you? Okay, let me.
Why you stuttering, Mohammed? Why you stuttering?
Look me in the face. Be a man.
Why you stuttering? One second. Just got to trying to transfer this video here. All right. And All right. Back to this awesome, epic, enlightening debate. Guys, have we learned anything so far from this powerful debate with Mohammed Hijab?
No.
Do you want to both throw the towel?
You were not booked to talk about this.
Do you want to give up?
Just debate the issues.
Let's talk about the issues. Let's talk about Iran. Let's talk about Iran. Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Do you support Iran?
Okay. Well, let me answer your question.
Now
Iran was attacked on April the 1st.
He just asked you a question.
Right? It was attacked. The embassy of Iran was attacked in Syria by Israel. After that, on the first occasion, they then sent missiles and drones, correct? Now, my question to you is, does Iran have a right to defend itself? And if so, what is a proportionate response? Because you see, I've been having a moral quandary about the issue. Piers Morgan.
I actually like what he did there. Guys, I will always give credit where credit is due. The one thing I like that Hijab is doing is the kind of most annoying feature of Piers Morgan's interviews is it kind of always does the same thing over and over and over again. It's like, dude, we've already seen you do this 9,000 times. Why are you doing the exact same thing? Why is it always the exact same thing? And Hijab just did it reverse. Does Iran have a right to defend itself? Now, keep in mind why this is so insane. I'm assuming they're going to point it out, but why this is so insane. Iran is the ones who are responsible for they're the ones behind the Hamas attack, the Hezbollah attack, the Houthi attack. They're the ones behind all of this. And so acting like Israel just randomly attacked them. No, does Iran have a right to defend itself against this unprovoked attack? I don't know what to do. All right, let's go ahead.
What's a proportionate response for Iran?
I'll tell you what I think about Iran. I think Iran is an unbelievably nefarious place which has been fueling Hamas, the Houthis, Hezbollah for many years with a joint
Does it have a right to defend
a
itself?
joint ideology that they want to eradicate Israel in any way they can.
Okay. Does it have
so
a right to
I
defend
think
itself?
Iran is one of the most despicable
Does it have a right to
regimes
defend itself?
in the world. I also think that right now the Iranian regime is in serious danger.
You look completely discombobulated.
What do you mean?
You look dishevelled.
I'm telling you what I think
You're
of Iran.
disheveled.
I'm asking you, do they have a right to defend themselves? Do you think they have a right to defend themselves? Both of you can answer the question. Do they have a right to defend? They were attacked. The sovereign nation was attacked. My question is, does it have a right to defend
Iran
itself?
has been fueling
Isn't that the
attacks
question
on
you've been
Israel
asking?
now for what, 40
I've
years?
been having a moral quandary about
What?
this. I've been having a moral quandary about Iran.
Have you?
Yeah, moral quandary, yes. Moral quandary, I don't know. Do they have a right to defend themselves? And if so, what is the proportionate
So you're
response?
supporting Iran, to be clear.
I'm asking you, no,
Are
I'm
you
not
supporting
I'm
Iran?
not supporting, I'm antithetical to many of these organizations for my own purposes. But my question to you,
Do you support the Iranian regime?
not unconditionally, but I support them.
If you recall, I don't have this tweet pulled up, but I recall this. It was on the issue of Hezbollah when Hijab was talking about Hezbollah, and you had people like Jake, who seemed to be Jake Brunkatella or whatever. He seemed to be in favor of the Hezbollah leadership getting crushed because they're Shias and because of the things they've done to Sunnis in various places, including in Syria and so on. Whereas, what's his name? What's the PDF guy? Daniel Hakikachu. His position was, no, if Hezbollah is attacking Israel, then Hezbollah are the good guys, even though if we would normally hate them. And Hijab was saying that he supports Hezbollah against Israel, but supports Sunnis against Hezbollah. And so he has kind of a love-hate relationship with Hezbollah. But anyway, the point is, the same exact reasoning would apply to Iran. He would say he supports Iran if they're attacking Israel, but other than that, does not support Iran because they're Shias.
What conditions do you agree with them about?
Their right to defend themselves. Do you believe they have a right to defend themselves?
No, I think they're terrorists.
Oh, so they don't have a right to defend themselves? Iran does not have a right to defend itself.
They do, but they're not the ones.
So what is proportionate response?
They're not the ones.
What's the proportionate response?
Okay.
No,
Can I answer you?
You asked this question to the
You're
people.
just going to keep talking. Can I answer you?
What's the proportionate response?
The proportionate response to Iran is to stop them trying to destroy Israel through their proxies, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Hamas. That's what they've been trying to do for many years.
What is a proportionate response of Iran after their embassy was smashed and destroyed in Syria and 16 people were killed? What's the proportionate response?
This is so stupid.
I would have said smashed like Aisha by your fake prophet. I would constantly
this is
do that.
so ridiculously stupid. It's like this is a kind of response, the kind of argumentation that appeals to an audience of people who have an average 67.9 IQ. That is what this is appealing to. He is making no point at all. Like, nobody would take this seriously unless you are Piers Morgan. Of course, you would invite somebody like this and then have a conversation with him about geopolitics. This should be a serious conversation about geopolitics, about what Iran has the right to do and does not have the right to do, if Iran is on the right side or the wrong side, if Iran is the aggressor or the defender, and whatever it is, whether Iran is actually under attack by Israel or vice versa. Everybody knows, okay? Every single person out there knows, no matter what side you are on, no matter how smart or dumb you are, that Iran is the side that is employing these proxy organizations and attacking Israel again and again and again. There are those who say that Iran is right in doing so because Israel is bad and they should be doing that. And then there are those who say that Iran has no right to do that and should be dealt with. It is only somebody as dumb and just completely useless to the conversation as Mohammed Hijab who will come in and completely talk around that, completely misrepresent it, and then talk about Iran's right to defend itself. It's so stupid, man.
Yeah, that was the most important takeaway. What you just said right there is like, this could have been even after all the diversion. Once they started talking about Iran, that could have been an important discussion. He's got Piers Morgan, you got Mohammed Hijab, you got Alan Dershowitz. They could have had some sort of relevant discussion on this issue, something that would have informed people to some extent. And instead, He has to derail it. It's all he can do at this point. It's all he can do. But
Because
let's
he's
see.
a child. He's a child, and
Yeah.
it's no surprise.
He's a 12-year-old in a freaking giant gorilla's body.
Yes, and it's no surprise that Piers Morgan actually said, and I hadn't watched it until this point. This is the first time that I've gotten this far. After seeing this, in all honesty, I completely understand why Piers tweeted, "I will not invite him on again." So, before that, I was basically saying, "Oh, come on, he should invite him again. He should have him to talk, let him talk about child marriage and all of that." But now, after seeing this, I feel so exhausted by just listening to this imbecile. I completely understand Piers saying, "Never again."
Yeah, we'll probably watch a little bit more and then ask people if they want to continue watching it, because I'm not sure. It looks like it's all going to be this. Like, if I thought that, Hijab's going to run out of distraction steam here in a second, and he's actually going to start, having a serious discussion, I would gladly continue. But if it's just this for the rest of the debate, I'm really, really, really not interested. We got the point, but let's see where this goes. And really, I mean, seriously, Hijab, by derailing it, he's making it between him and Piers trying to get it to something relevant and so on. And Dershowitz is basically, he's not doing anything except saying how he's going to sue Hijab now. So anyway, I don't know. Maybe they get to something. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, what about the proportionate response to everything Iran's done?
Which is against the Vienna Conventions.
What about the response to everything Iran
What
has
did
been
Iran
doing?
do to Israel? Who did they kill? Who did they?
They never killed anybody.
Who
in
did
Iran.
they?
How deluded are you, Mohammed?
Excuse me. Hold on. Which Israeli civilian have Iran successfully targeted? Give me one name.
You don't think Iran's been responsible for any Israeli civilian dying?
Did you hear that?
No, I missed that. I was typing something. No, what's that?
Which Israeli civilian did Iran successfully target?
Successfully.
Are you freaking kidding
me?
me?
Hang on. Let me play it again, because we definitely want to highlight that. That is important.
Wow. About the response to everything Iran
What
has
did
been
Iran
doing?
do to Israel? Who did they kill? Who did they?
They never killed anybody.
Who
in Iran.
did they?
How deluded are you, Mohammed?
Excuse me. Hold on. Which Israeli civilian have Iran successfully targeted? Give me one.
AP, would you like to explain how stupid and idiotic and insane, and how that point would only be relevant to the dumbest of the dumb, namely Dawa fans? Would you like to explain how absolutely insane and stupid that was?
I don't know if I have the energy for it, but let me just give an example here. Let's say you have, let's say you live in a big, large home, and you have a neighbor. You call the police on your neighbor because they keep violently threatening you, but the police doesn't do anything. The neighbor even attacks you repeatedly, attacks your place, and you fight back, and you call the police, but the police doesn't do anything. Eventually, that neighbor starts shooting at your house with lethal weapons, ammunition, including shoots rockets at your house, throws bombs into your house, but nobody dies. Nobody dies in your house because you have somehow saved them and prevented them from being killed by your neighbor's fire. And then, amid that, you fire back and successfully take them out. However, then the police comes to your door and says, "Why did you kill them?" How many of you did they successfully target? Apparently, you have no right to fight back unless they were successful in their attempt to kill you and your family. Apparently, when a country is under attack by another country, it's not fair to fight back against that other country unless they are successful in killing your civilians, in killing your civilian population. If they keep firing and you are just defending your population efficiently and preventing your population from being killed, despite the fact that they are being brutally targeted, then you're not allowed to fight back. You're only allowed to fight back if they actually manage to kill your civilians. This is Mohammed Hijab's logic here.
Yeah, guys, so Iran launched a bunch of missiles at Israel. Israel has just spent a ton of money on being able to defend against missile attacks. And so Hijab just painted Iran as the innocent ones, because how many innocent civilians have they successfully targeted? Not how many have they targeted. They targeted a bunch. Israel just has good defenses. Shame on them, according to Mohammed Hijab. So how many have they successfully targeted? Oh, nope, because they're unsuccessful, because Israel has good defenses against Iran. So therefore, yeah, if you're a good fighter and someone comes up to you and just starts tries to punch you every day, but you're good at defending yourself and stuff like that, then that person has never done anything wrong. He's never done anything wrong because he's trying to hit you. He's doing everything he can to hit you, but he's not successfully hitting you because you're good at blocking him, and therefore the person has not done anything wrong and has no responsibility. Thank you, Mohammed Hijab.
If you punch them back, you're actually guilty because that person never successfully managed to hit you because you block very well. So therefore, how dare you punch back?
I just put up a poll whether we should continue watching.
67.9 IQ.
I asked if we should continue watching. We'll see how that plays out for a second. We'll keep watching for a little bit until the poll results are in. Let's see.
You don't think Iran's too responsible?
Oh, and I put, should we continue watching this, or should we watch Mohammed meets Jeffrey Epstein in the Boom Boom Room?
Any Israeli civilian dying?
I'm asking you to edify
What about
me.
the way they funded Hamas?
You can both edify me.
1,200 people in Israel.
Iran in
October the
particular. I'm not
7th.
talking about Hamas. We've spoken about Hamas at length.
Well,
We're talking about Iran.
He just said we've already spoken about Hamas. We've spoken about Hamas. When? What was the takeaway from the discussion about Hamas, Hijab? Because now Piers starts trying to talk. Well, what about Hamas? You just said this about Iran. What about Hamas? We've already talked about Hamas. We'll talk about Iran. Oh my!
Do it through their
We're talking
specific
about Iran. It's
names.
old news. You're talking about
Let's let
Hamas.
Alan respond.
Yes, go ahead. Who did they successfully target?
Well,
That's
let
my
me
question.
respond.
Yeah, please. Yeah.
The Iranians have been
So polite.
found by an Argentine court to have been guilty of killing hundreds of Israeli and Jewish people in Buenos Aires. They killed Marines through Hezbollah. They were combatants, but the attack on the Israeli Cultural Center, attack on the Israeli embassy were attacks, according to the Argentinian judicial proceedings, attacks on Israel, entitling Israel to engage in response. Now, let me explain what proportionality means, because you're missing the point.
Finally!
Proportionality doesn't require that a country that's attack back in proportion. Proportionality only means that if you're going to attack a mixed target that has civilians and combatants, the ratio of civilians to combatants must be proportional to the military value of the target. And
that's something we've
Thank
said.
you.
Yeah, we've said that a number of times, and we've actually seen it explained, like from people who are actually doing it, that when you've got IDF has posted videos of like what they do in their little like control center where they're monitoring things with cameras and stuff like that and deciding whether to blow up a building and so on. And it would be okay, this guy's in there, but there are civilians in the area, and therefore I've seen him do it. Say, okay, we're not gonna strike because this guy's not that important enough to endanger the civilians in the area. If it were one of the leaders, that would be a different story. It's okay, given what this attack might do and the potential for harming people who are civilians or something like that, how significant is this? How significant is this? That's what you're thinking of. Is the value proportional to what, what's the proportionality of the thing you're targeting to any collateral damage that might be done? You're looking for that sort of thing. Piers and Hijab seem to think of it as, based on the number of people they killed, the number of people you kill has to be somehow proportional to that. Like you keep it even, or even if you wanted to go 2 for 1 or 3 for 1 or something like that. Those are the proportions they seem to be thinking of. And we've responded to that in the past by pointing out, okay, this is the number of ships that were destroyed by the Japanese at Pearl Harbor. What do you think proportional? Do you think that the U.S. is supposed to just go and blow up the same number of Japanese ships and then hope we're even Steven? We're all even now. No, that is a recipe for an endless war. Anyway, let me back that up because it is refreshing to have someone actually explaining this.
But the attack on the Israeli Cultural Center, the attack on the Israeli embassy, were attacks, according to the Argentinian judicial proceedings, attacks on Israel, entitling Israel to engage in response. Now, let me explain what proportionality means, because you're missing the point. Proportionality doesn't require that a country that's attack back in proportion. Proportionality only means that if you're going to attack a mixed target that has civilians and combatants, the ratio of civilians to combatants must be proportional to the military value of the target. And that's what Israel has been trying to do. But Iran has killed thousands and thousands of Israeli and Jewish civilians over the years. So to defend somehow Iran and saying that they were innocent, even the people who were killed.
Did you hear this idiot?
He doesn't understand it. He didn't understand it.
He didn't understand what ratio is acceptable. He specifically said it's not about the ratio. It's not about the ratio.
There is no ratio, you idiot. I mean, at this point, look, in the past, I thought that Mohammed Hijab is not dumb. He is actually quite intelligent. He just deceptive and so on. At this point, I think he's just dumb. He really didn't get the point. He really didn't understand this very, very simple explanation that should have been understood. It's not about a ratio. It's not even about numbers, despite the fact that it sounds like it. When you say proportionality, that's not what it is.
And here the problem is, guess what? You just pointed out Hijab did not understand what Dershowitz just said. What do you think the odds of Mohammed Hijab's fans understanding what Dershowitz just said? What do you think the odds of Hijab's fans understanding that are? I would say close to zero, close to zero as something can be, which means they're just listening to Hijab going, yes, what is the ratio? What is this? Yes, thank you, Hijab, for destroying him.
As somebody who understood what Alan Dershowitz just said and who understands, oh, wait a minute, okay, so that is not what proportionality is probably too smart at this point to listen to Mohammed Hijab any further. And I don't think that his audience is made up of such people. As said, it's probably 67.9 IQ.
What ratio is acceptable? You've spoken for some length now. What ratio is acceptable?
Combatants who were legitimately killed.
Can you hear me or not?
As combatants.
What's an acceptable ratio for you?
So Iran has no right of self-defense against that.
Hijab's back to just interrupting and derailing because
what an idiot.
Yeah, he can't understand a point. Therefore, if he can't understand a point, then he obviously can't respond to it, and therefore he just resorts to interrupting.
Israel was completely entitled to kill.
Let me answer what you just said.
Israel was entitled to kill any combatant that was hiding in an embassy building.
Hold on. You've just conflated two things. You've spoken about the Argentinian case.
That was an interesting thing he just said. He said Israel is entitled to kill any combatant hiding in an embassy, meaning your embassy, the purpose is not for you to be able to hide terrorists. And therefore, if you have a bunch of terrorists fleeing to your embassy to insist that, nope, we're safe here, then no, it doesn't apply. They can come after your terrorists wherever they're hiding.
Yeah.
Which
even if they're in schools, by the way, even if they fire and then go back and hide inside a school, it is Israel's duty in that case to make sure that they minimize civilian casualties as much as possible and try to get civilians out of harm's way. However, if it is a pattern that terrorists repeatedly fire at them, endanger their population, and then repeatedly again and again go to the same school and hide there, it is permissible for Israel, after taking the appropriate measures, to fire at that school and take out those terrorists, despite the fact that it may endanger civilians, including minors. This is international law. Israel only has the responsibility to make sure that the proportionality is taken into consideration. If Israel was not allowed to do this, this would mean that any terrorist organization could just fire at you in whatever way they want and just go back and hide among kids and civilians, and you couldn't do anything against them, which would be absurd.
Yeah, they're trying. Yeah, the reason for making the rules like this is you don't want a situation where I can just walk out, kill a bunch of people, and then run into a school or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can never come get me. You can never come get me.
An independent international investigation on, number one. And then you've spoken about, we speak about 1st of April. Was that a response to Argentina? It was not a response to Argentina. When on the 1st of April, they bombed the Iranian embassy in Syria, they did not do so. They said that is a military base and that we're attacking. But we all know that in this country, for example, every single embassy has military attaches. They have military attaches. So if you go to the US embassy here in London, they have armed officers. Does that make it a viable target? Does it make the US embassy?
It's actually shocking that everyone is like they've actually gone back and forth for a couple seconds now. It's like shocking after we're 21 minutes into this discussion, and they're finally like Alan made his point. Hijab started interrupting him and so on, but now Hijab is actually trying to make a case.
See a viable target. The Russian embassy a viable.
Why?
You know why? Because Alan Dershowitz said that he's going to sue him. Now, Mohammed Hijab, I bet he's under the influence of that, trying to be serious.
Target. This is clearly against the UN Convention. It's against the Vienna Conventions. You cannot attack. You cannot attack an embassy of another nation in another sovereign land. You cannot do that. And
so let me respond to that.
No, hold on.
Let him answer.
Let me respond to that. Let me respond.
It's been
it was not an embassy. It was an ancillary building being used as a military center to plan attacks against Israel. They used the pretext of it being a building somehow attached to an embassy. The evidence is very clear.
Which is?
And be happy to have them bring a lawsuit and see if it can be resolved in a court of law. But Israel was entitled to regard who was killed. The people who were killed were military people who were planning attacks on Israel.
That's not true.
Using an annex to a building to do it. Did that justify 3,000 rockets being sent into Israel?
Hold on. Let me respond.
180 ballistic missiles being sent into Israel?
Have you made your point?
Have you made your point?
Look what he just said.
The response is as follows.
Also killed.
Yeah, in addition to the militants, right?
First of all, 16 people were killed officially, and of them, there were 2 civilians that were killed. So what you're saying is only military targets is flatly false, squarely false, barefaced lie.
Nobody said that.
Yeah.
Nobody said that.
Who are they targeting, Hijab? Who are they targeting?
Idiot, you imbecile. Moron.
You were a liar when you were defending Epstein. That's number one. Number 2 is, when you say that, okay, that was a response. When Iran then, on the 14th of April, responded with missiles, once again, how many casualties were there? How many casualties were there? 0. Just like there were 0 casualties when they responded recently in October. Not one person died except for one Palestinian, ironically enough, that was apparently killed in the October one. But in the April one, no one died.
You hear this, guys? He's back to. But Iran didn't successfully, even though they tried to kill tons of people. They're launching rockets up into the air against Israel, but they weren't successful because Israel spends a lot of its money on defending its people, unlike Hamas, which tries to maximize its own civilian casualties. Shame on Israel for protecting their people, for making all these bunkers, for having their Iron Dome to protect against missile attacks, for spending so much of their money on defending their people. Shame on them. It makes the people who are attacking them ineffective, and therefore, if the people attacking them are ineffective, then they're innocent, and innocent there can be no repercussions.
I'm serious. If you are a fan of Mohammed Hijab and you think that this guy is actually smart, you think this guy is actually making good points, you might be very, very, very incredibly stupid, and you really might need to get help in understanding basic arguments, basic logic, whatever it is. No wonder you rally behind this guy. This is the dumbest thing that I have heard in this entire discussion about this ongoing war. people who are watching this who are not from the Muslim background and who are not Jake Shields, who got punched in the head 50,000 times and is therefore completely virtually retarded. People who are not like that watch this and just bash their heads on the desk or whatever they find in front of them, and possibly getting hurt as a result because of the absolutely stupid logic that Mohammed Hijab presents here. He's basically saying, oh, Iran tried to kill people, but they didn't succeed. Therefore, Israel has no right to respond. That is essentially what this boils down to. If you think that this is not stupid, then you are stupid.
Yeah, this would be... think about this, because I was I lived in New York, and after 9/11, I was actually, I was counting at some point, the number of terrorist attacks that were actually foiled, like they stopped them, people trying to blow up the subway, but they get caught beforehand. 12 terrorist attacks in a row that I counted in New York. There were 12 attempted terrorist attacks in New York. All of them were foiled. According to Hijab, all these people are just fine and innocent because their attacks weren't successful. They didn't actually kill anyone. They were trying to kill tons of people, but they didn't actually kill it. They didn't successfully target anyone. They unsuccessfully targeted people. And therefore, these guys are completely innocent. You cannot retaliate against them anyway. They should be walking free to keep trying until they're successful. Because that's what Hijab is saying about Iran, right? Oh, okay. Well, Iran hasn't successfully targeted Jewish civilians. Therefore, you cannot retaliate against them. You have to let them keep trying until they kill a bunch of your civilians. Then maybe Israel could respond. That's what he's advocating. And this is the champion of Dawah.
Was precise strikes at military bases. Number two, you speak about this being a base. As I say now, if you look at Collins' dictionary right now, there's two aspects of what is...
He's quoting Collins' dictionary to a Harvard-educated, one of the best lawyers in the world. Let me tell you what the dictionary says. I have a dictionary.
A military base, vernacularly speaking. Number one is that there has to be weapons in that place. And number two, that there has to be training of soldiers. This is usually understood as what is a military base.
That's just made up. Those are made up stories. There's no truth to that at all.
What's made up? Which part of it is made up?
There's no truth to that.
Let him respond.
I haven't finished my point yet.
You need weapons.
Made a statement.
No, let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying.
That's just made up. You don't need weapons to have a military base.
This is another piece of evidence that this guy is just completely idiotic in whatever he says. You don't go by a dictionary definition, even if the dictionary said that. For example, you don't go by a dictionary definition if you make a case about law. Yeah. You go by what the law in detail says. The dictionary is going to be very limited on that.
Yeah. Hey Hijab. When Dershowitz sues you, you should represent yourself and just quote the dictionary the entire time. That'd be awesome, man. Look, the dictionary definition of defamation is this. Who cares what the legal definition is? The dictionary, I brought Collins' dictionary. It's all I need for discussions about international law and defamation. I brought the dictionary. He's quoting a dictionary to an actual expert in law. He's quoting the dictionary about what the law is. Oh my goodness.
It could be a command center
hold on,
they're planning attacks.
Let me finish.
That's just made up.
Let me finish. The
more you say, the happier I am.
Says the guy.
What I'm saying to you is that if you look at almost every Western...
The more you say, the happier I am. Oh boy. Hang on. Let's recap that.
Understood as what is a military base.
That's just made up. Those are made up stories. There's no truth to that at all.
What's made up? Which part of it is made up?
There's no truth to that.
Let him respond.
I haven't finished my point.
The fact that you need weapons.
Made a statement.
Let me finish what I'm saying.
That's just made up. You don't need weapons to have a military base. It could be a command center where they're planning attacks.
Let me finish.
That's just made up.
Let me finish.
The more you say, the happier I am.
Look how annoyed Hijab is that guy interrupted him with that, right? The more you say, I'm happier. That's what Hijab does every 2 seconds, the entire time someone is trying to speak. And this guy did it to him once and said, the more you speak, the happier I am. And Hijab's like, I can't even make my point here.
What Alan Dershowitz just did here is you have on the one hand these absolute barbarians who have kindergarten level intelligence and Gaza level arguments, are cheering for this man child sitting there and shouting and yelling, and they actually think, "Oh, look at that! Yeah, look, oh boy, yeah, he's finishing, he's getting them. Look, he's humiliating them." And then you have this actually successful, super intelligent guy who has a career of presenting actual arguments, speaking to the relevant actual audiences that actually matter, and basically pointing out to them, well, you see what's going on here, don't you? And
He did. And it's this ongoing situation where the intelligent people who are able to follow arguments end up seeing what they need to see, and the dumb people who can't follow an argument just, oh, him strong. But there are a lot of people like that.
You'll have,
so that's
yeah,
what sucks.
you'll have a bunch of imbeciles in the comment section like, Mohammed Hijab, he humiliated them, he made them look very stupid.
Hang on. I just saw a super chat I want to respond to, but I got to go through these other ones to get to it. I just glanced at it, but I want to respond to that. Hang on. Let's see. Let's go through a couple of these real quick. I thought based on Mo Peshab's attitude, Alan would probably wait for someday to fight a pro bono case against him, but Mo wanted a lawsuit right away. Yeah, he seemed to want it right there. Piers should have invited a dog to debate the great Muslim philosopher scholar Hijab. Only then would it have been a fair debate. Woof woof. That is true. You gotta. Hijab would tell a judge, "Shut up! You have zero credibility." He would say something like that. That's why it's going to be awesome if we can actually get these guys in court.
Actually, I don't even need a lawyer because this judge is a weakling.
Weakling.
Here, my dictionary says I'm not guilty.
Colin's dictionary says this. If I had a Quran, I would do something to balance the respect scales in honor of the good Alan. Something like that. Hijab claiming Iran is the victim. Yeah, I know, that is funny. But they weren't successful in their attack. Take my jizya as to revive brain cells after hijab. Everyone needs help reviving brain cells after hijab. We should do like a commercial for some sort of like Tylenol, but like specifically for after watching hijab. It gets worse, but it's worth a watch. So this was a response to me asking if we should just go ahead and cut it short. A 30-something-year-old guy repeatedly shouting, "Good boy," to an 86-year-old man is one of the creepiest, most pathetic things I've ever seen. Unbelievable. Yeah. How do you think hijab acts towards his wives? Like when he wants to, this is how he acts when he wants to put someone in place and he starts treating them like dogs. AP, is that an Orthodox prayer rope?
Yes.
Of course it is. What else would our agnostic friend have? Keep in mind, Dershowitz is at least 30,000 years old, and Mojab is in his 30s at the peak of his intellectual quickness and capabilities. So yeah, that's important to note. Hijab's in his intellectual prime right now. Sounds like an idiot. And Dershowitz is really, 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 really old and sounds massively more intelligent and knowledgeable and informed and sane.
And the only reason that Mohammed Hijab is actually known and he's on here and he's taken seriously as a correspondent is that he serves an audience that is incredibly stupid. So it's easy for him with such horrible behavior and such stupidity to quickly get relevant and popular and important by simply shouting without adding anything useful to the conversation. That's basically what it is.
Yep. You got to cater to your fan base, and Hijab knows his fan base. Isa here. Hey, Isa. Isa says the anti-Semites won't listen to Alan Dershowitz. That is a point. They're probably like even he could say the most commonsensical thing there is, and Hijab's fans would not pay the slightest bit of attention. At the memorial ceremony for the 7th, Piers spoke after Trudeau and set him on fire. We might have to check that out, man. That's that Pierre, that other politician. Oh, maybe that's maybe that's what that lady was asking a question about, that journalist. Maybe she's asking about what he said, because she said yesterday you said. So we might have to check that out, man. Even if we just we're covering something else, but I'd want to check that out. So we could check out their speeches. Trudeau's extremely weak speech, and whatever that guy said afterwards, I'm sure was way smarter and more based.
I saw that lots of people were roasting Trudeau and Macron and others on social media, who after just passing completely horrible policies or saying completely dumb things in response to Israel's operations, actually decided on October 7 to attend memorials or to say October 7 was a very bad day and we condemn this. You should just see the responses to Macron on X. Everyone is just saying, "Shut up."
Good stuff. Good stuff. AP got DM on X from Dose of Truth. He can't super chat. So AP, check out your DM. Dwayne, this is the comment I wanted to respond to, because he said I had a punchable face. David, you have a face that is begging to be punched. How many times did it happen in prison? But I cannot stop watching your content, and your humor and logic is just awesome. AP's face is worse, though. You have an even more punchable face than me. What?
Of course, this comes from somebody in Australia who was probably taken there after committing some horrible crimes.
Yeah, I know. That's all they think. Yeah, a bunch of criminals. Oh, I'd like to punch people's faces. Toss another shrimp. Let's toss another shrimp on the barbie and punch another face there, mate. Ayatollah says, I cannot believe Mojab convinced the man in the yellow hat to let him out of the enclosure only to put on this performance. Sad. You don't know what that is, do you, AP?
What is that?
Curious George, man, the man in the yellow hat.
I don't know.
Curious George, the little monkey. Curious George, the curious little monkey. Penrith Panthers is a professional rugby league. Ah, that explains it. And they won the grand final, Australia's equivalent to a Super Bowl, up to the mighty Australia's equivalent of the Super Bowl. There's no Australian equivalent of the Super Bowl unless it's the Super Bowl of crime.
They don't have sports in Australia anyway. I don't know what this is about.
They have these weird games where they like ride kangaroos at each other and stuff like that, and they call that rugby. What has Mr. Hijab achieved? Well, he derails conversations pretty well. And Tarun here, who is better, Rahul Gandhi or Dhruv? What are you talking about, Tarun? Are these vegans?
We don't care about veganism, man.
Yeah, he always has to turn in, look, who's the better vegan? Who's the better vegan of these people?
Come on, veganism.
What about the vegans? What about the vegans? That's all Tarun thinks about. All right, back to Hijab here.
What I'm saying to you is that if you look at almost every Western government embassy in the West and outside of the West, they have military attaches. You can fact check this. You can go online. You will see in the US embassy, in the French embassy, in the British embassy, military guards, people there that have their own weapons and guns. So according to you, that would be a military base. See,
okay.
Are they then legitimate targets?
What happened in this case was they used
What are you saying?
And here's the question, Mohammed Hijab. What were IRGC personnel, like Iran Revolutionary Guard personnel, Hamas personnel, Hezbollah personnel, and so on, doing together at a building attached to the embassy in Syria?
Maybe they're all just banging each other. You don't know. You don't know what they were doing. Maybe they had their shorts off.
Can we then contravene the Vienna agreements? Can we then conventions? Can we
you
then?
don't know what
can
you're
we
talking
then,
about. You have no knowledge of international law or diplomacy law, the law of war.
You haven't got one
please.
peer-reviewed. You don't have one peer-reviewed work on international law. And Jimmy Carter, the former U.S. president, said you have no knowledge of Palestine. Don't speak to me about Palestine and these issues. Jimmy Carter, a former president of the United States, as you acknowledge, you've written it in your book. He says that you have no knowledge of the Palestine issue. Jimmy Carter said that. Don't speak to me like that.
Well, you want to hear something?
Yeah,
it was in my book.
Jimmy Carter? That's the authority on whether someone is knowledgeable? I mean, look, Jimmy Carter, look, very nice guy, friendly peanut farmer, and so on. There's a reason he got crushed at the re-election. He had no freaking clue what he's doing, running a country with all the things that are going on.
Wasn't that guy president like 60 years ago? When was
like a trillion years ago? He's cool. I think he just turned 100, so he was really, really, really old. But nice, friendly guy, nice, devout, friendly Christian. In fact, that was the actual turning point, because Christians, for a lot of the history of the U.S., if one candidate was clearly like more devoutly Christian, Christians would tend to side with that person. This guy's a better Christian than others, so we're using that as a criterion. Jimmy Carter's the one who flipped it, because he had a ton of Christians who voted for him, and then during his presidency, people were like, we're not going to vote for this guy just because he's a super nice Christian. Being a super nice Christian does not mean he knows how to run a country, and therefore they switched support to Reagan.
Here's the thing. Pay attention to what just happened. Alan Dershowitz just rightly told him that he has no idea about international law.
Mm-hmm.
He said that to Mohammed Hijab,
which is true.
Which is demonstrably true, and we can have just so many examples of that. Whereas Alan Dershowitz actually goes into international law and is a lawyer and defends nations, defends countries, and studies international law. Mohammed Hijab's response then is, "Well, you have no peer-reviewed paper on international law." Okay,
and Jimmy Carter says you don't know enough about the Palestinian issue.
Hold up. We're talking international law. On the one hand, you have a lawyer, an international lawyer, a defendant for really, really big, important people, and you, as somebody who has nothing to do with law, who has nothing to do with international law, who doesn't know any history, who doesn't know anything about geopolitics, are then accusing that guy of being ignorant because he has no peer-reviewed research paper on international law or on the Israel-Palestine issue, despite the fact that this guy is in his field and he has also represented Israel and he has also written many books about the topic.
What did I say a million times? The goal is to discredit the person. So Hijab said something. Dershowitz points out, you have no clue what you're talking about. I'll explain it to you. And then Hijab's response is, but you haven't written the peer-reviewed paper, and Jimmy Carter says you don't know enough about the Palestinian issue. He tried to discredit him, right? Like, Dershowitz is telling you exactly what the law is. And in order to keep people from understanding what the actual law is, you try to discredit him. And therefore your followers are supposed to zone out because they don't understand.
Somebody in the chat is saying, "Oh, like O.J. Simpson." You are the kind of person that Mohammed Hijab is appealing to when
you are. You are. Matter of fact, we already know. I haven't even seen the comment. I already know it's a Hijab fan who showed up and he's going, "Oh yes, Hijab exposed him for being a lawyer. Oh, great job, Hijab. Powerful dawah."
Jeffrey Dahmer, my favorite serial killer, had lawyers.
That's true.
Jeffrey Dahmer had lawyers, and those lawyers did their job because they are lawyers. Does that now mean that those lawyers were bad people? No, it means they were practicing law in a country that has a system of law.
Oh man, hey, AP. I just have to tell you this little side Jimmy Carter story because it's short. It's just what Reagan said. But because I like awesome communication, we liked the communication from that Piers fun guy and so on. But it was Jimmy Carter was asked about the whether the recession is going to turn into a depression, and he said he didn't know the difference between a recession and a depression. And Reagan responded to that. He goes, "My opponent says he doesn't know the difference between a recession and a depression. Well, I'll explain it for everyone. A recession is when your neighbor loses his job. A depression is when you lose yours. And this one won't end until Jimmy Carter loses his." And I was like, oh my goodness, man. That is like one of the sickest burns of all time, man. But Reagan was called back then. He was called the great communicator because he was just sick with burns. He got older and lost it and stuff. But when he's young, my goodness, what a brutal dude.
That's based.
In fact, where the doors and the rooms and the masseuse.
Wait, was that?
I have to apologize to whoever said OJ 0 fucks. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't have read that the way.
What,
But it says
what'd you say on this
zero
Christian
F,
channel?
it says 0 FUX. I assumed that it was
Guys,
meant
that
to be
was FUX. It's a different word. It means something in a different language. Don't hold that against AP.
I assume when you said like OJ that you are going with the whole thing that some people have been doing in the chat the whole time. I didn't think that you were. Okay, I misjudged you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The 0 FUX.
Yes. Everyone heartily apologizes. All right. Now back to someone who refuses to heartily apologize.
To the back
Stop
cover.
it.
It was the
in
back
Epstein's
cover of
house.
my book.
Goodness sake.
That's what you have knowledge of.
I've written 13 books.
Did you touch
I've
Virginia?
Written 13
Did you touch
books
her?
on Israel.
Did you touch Virginia?
Some of which
Did
have
you
been,
touch her?
Did you hear him? He's back to your association with Epstein.
Did you touch that woman?
Never heard of her. Never met her. Never met
Don't
her.
lie.
Never. She.
Don't lie to
she
me.
just-
Guys, do you see it?
Don't lie to me.
No, guys, look at it, guys. Look what Hijab just did. He tried to actually for a few moments have a coherent discussion, and he like, well, I can quote the dictionary. I will quote Collins' dictionary, and the response is, okay, quoting the dictionary doesn't work. I'm talking about what the actual law is, and then Hijab instantly starts going, but you don't have peer-reviewed article on this. And he starts going, I have 13 books on this. Did you touch Virginia? Did you touch Virginia? What is this guy? What is this guy?
As soon as he loses the grip, he also starts attacking his opponent. And Muslims love this. Muslims actually love this. Anybody else who's watching this thinks, what is wrong with this guy? Please get out of my TV. And Muslims are like, yeah, beautiful, man. You showed him. You showed him. You showed that old man.
Dawah is so powerful.
Did you touch that woman or not?
I'm telling you, I never met her, and she acknowledged
Did you
in
touch that
writing,
woman?
under oath,
Did you
that
sex-
she
Look
may
at
have
this. You
have no
confused
knowledge
me
of
with
his case,
someone
do you?
else.
You wouldn't be
I'm
saying
asking him a
that.
question.
You're
Okay,
repeating
so-
Why are you
serious
defending him?
information.
Has he got leverage
Because he
over
won
her?
a case. It was proven to be lies.
I'm asking him a
Why are
question.
you doing this?
I'm asking him a question.
This is not about Israel.
This is
You're
the
trying to be a
credibility
clever
of this
dick, but what
individual.
you're doing is inviting a law.
Guys, he keeps every single time. I said it beforehand. I said it before we even started. I've said it. I've been saying it for years. Think about this. It's about his credibility. It's about his credibility. When he couldn't respond to what the guy was actually saying, he goes after the person and tries to undermine the person. He tries to discredit the person so that you're not thinking, oh, this guy knows way more than Hijab. He's schooling Hijab. He's humiliating Hijab because he knows the law. And Mohammed Hijab just pulled up a dictionary. Hijab wants to distract you from all that, and he'll just, well, what about the girl? What about the girl? In the lawsuit that you won, in the case that you won, what about that? What about that? My goodness, man, what a freaking
Muslims, good job. Very, very well done.
Good job.
Good
boys. Good boy, Dawah fans. You little Dawah fans. You did good boy. Good boy. Good boy. You want a treat? You want a treat? You want a treat, boy? Oh, you want a treat?
Good boys pushing somebody like this. Good boys, Muslims making somebody like this popular. Good boy.
You want a treat? Come on. Come on. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. That's how you guys want to act, right? Huh?
So from Anna, which you will get.
I'm ready for it.
You are?
Yeah.
Really?
I've got 4 defamation cases, all of which your friend Douglas Murray, I'm taking him to court.
Well, good luck with taking on Annan on this, is all I would say.
I'm ready for him. Oh, you love him, don't you?
No, it's just one case.
I just wonder what he has.
Defending himself.
I just wonder what leverage he has. Does he have any leverage on you?
God, it's pathetic, man.
I don't know why you keep defending
He's
him.
now accusing me
He's a
of
monster.
supporting
Why are you thinking that?
He's a monster.
Right.
This man is a monster.
Well, why debate then?
Because I don't mind debating monsters, just like you don't mind debating monsters. We have that in common.
You're not debating. You're trying. Yeah, you're not debating. You're not in. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and skip to the end here because someone said, I want to see it till the end. We're only halfway through this discussion. We would be here till like 2 in the
I really wonder how it ends, though.
I know, because someone said, I want to see your reaction to the end. That's why I'm skipping to that. Otherwise, I would have just cut it right there. So I went to the end. What do you think, like the last maybe 2 minutes or so? Is that good enough, the last 2 minutes?
Yeah. I would say the last 4 minutes if we're not going to stop or not going to pause.
We are going to pause. We are going to pause. We can't help it. Hijab can't go 2 seconds without saying something stupid that we want to react to. All right. I'm 4 minutes. I'm last 4
Hijab
minutes.
never says anything stupid. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Proud of
about
defending
Israel
the Constitution
and the Middle East.
Okay, so let's go back to the.
We fast forwarded it till the end, and they're still doing the same thing. And Piers is still going, we're talking about Israel. What is your problem?
He was just advocating occupying the West Bank, Israel occupying the West Bank. We got to
that's
the
your
point
kind
where
of
he
guy.
was saying that's acceptable. I'm saying that if that's acceptable from an international law perspective, then you would expect the ICC and the ICJ and these organs of the United Nations to agree with him on that assessment. They have not agreed with him on that assessment.
Did you just hear what he just said? If he were right about this, then we would expect the United Nations to agree with him. Are you drunk, Hijab? The United Nations doesn't agree, therefore you're not right. The United Nations, stacked with Muslim nations, the United Nations, which seems to have time to do nothing in the world except blast away at Israel. If Israel were right, or if Alan Dershowitz were right, you would expect the UN to agree with him. He just said that. This is insane, man.
No, hold on. The United Nations also agrees with the Human Rights Declaration and all that. According to the United Nations, Muslim nations don't have the right to discriminate based on religion against non-Muslims. So does this now mean that discriminating based on religion is wrong? Mohammed Hijab would disagree with that because he, as he also expressed to me, does believe in establishing a state where you have to pledge allegiance to the Muslim state, and those who refuse to pledge allegiance are basically incriminating themselves, and those who leave Islam are basically becoming criminals, and so on. And only in an environment, in a world where where people are no longer bound to the laws of the United Nations and to the supremacy of the West, would this be possible? And he wants such a future again. However, here now he's saying that whatever the United Nations does is, decides what is right and what is wrong. Alhamdulillah.
And the United Nations has put out condemnations and warnings against child marriage. I guess. I mean, think, if Mohammed were right, then the United Nations would agree with him.
His friend Andrew Tate has committed crimes by the definitions of the United Nations.
Interesting.
No, even the United Kingdom doesn't agree with him on that assessment. The national position on the occupation of Gaza and the West Bank is that it's illegal. It's effective military control. So you don't know what you are talking about. And if that was possible, if it's okay for one nation, a sovereign nation, to go ahead and occupy another one, then sorry to say, Russia and Ukraine.
It is crazy that an ideology that has been built upon constantly attacking other places and occupying them until they take over and so on is the one who constantly complains about our occupation when for once it's not them doing it.
In Ukraine, the same thing, the same
So
argument
what
can be made.
you're saying, your position is that when a country is attacked and it wins the war, it must leave the next day. No country has ever done that. You continue the military occupation until all belligerency ends.
Many of the conventions that were put in place
once
were put in place after
belligerency
World War
ends in the
Well, hold
Gaza
on.
Strip,
You asked me a question.
the occupation should end.
Okay.
There should not be civilian
So it's
settlements.
a fallacy,
But there should be a
this is the-
military attempt to control belligerency.
Are you going to let...
Oh, so yeah, it sounds like he's saying that there should be an Israeli military presence in the West Bank to control the terrorists and so on. And
Also,
Hijab is saying no, you can't just go and take over another place. And Dershowitz is pointing out that's not how it works. When we kept a military presence in Germany, and we didn't leave the next day. We didn't say up, we won, let's all leave. No, we kept a military presence there. Why? Because you stay there until you know it's safe and they're not going to come after you again.
Look, the United Nations was formed after World War II, when World War II ended. There was the League of Nations until World War II. When the events of World War II started unfolding, and more countries started simply opting out of League of Nations agreements, and Germany started invading, and it started with Italy, actually, with Italy's aggressions against Ethiopia and so on. The League of Nations failed to be relevant any further because the purpose of it was to prevent international violence and the violations of rights and so on. The League of Nations collapsed, fell apart, was no longer relevant. The United Nations was formed after the events of the Second World War in order to establish an environment, a system where such conflicts would be prevented in the future, and a better way would be sought, would be pursued. That doesn't mean that everything that the United Nations decides is 100% true or 100% false. The United Nations comes together and tries to do a better job than the League of Nations does. In my opinion, and in the opinions of many others around the world, the United Nations has increasingly over time failed to do a proper job. And right now it is proving to be completely inefficient, because all they do is, we are concerned about this, we are concerned about that, we're concerned about this, we're concerned about that.
No, we condemn Israel.
Proper purpose anymore. It's a bunch of garbage, because it has been misused and has become insignificant and dumb. It does say that Israel should by now leave the West Bank, although the initial occupation of the West Bank was justified. That said, Israel doesn't have to listen to what the United Nations says. Israel can deal with the consequences of not listening to what the United Nations says, because the United Nations is made up of members that are anti-Israel and that support resolutions that go against Israel. Israel looks out for its own interests. If the United Nations comes to decisions that endangers the safety of Israelis and Israel, Israel is in their right. Israel is doing the best thing to disregard those resolutions and to say, hey, we don't care. We will look out for the safety of our own citizens. I'm glad they do this. If the Western nations were half as good and half as smart and half as upright and half as upstanding, they would be doing the same thing.
And they could fix this. They would fix the stupid United Nations if more people didn't just back down from the stupid things they say. Then the United Nations would have to repair itself, or it would fall apart.
Yes, exactly. And when it comes to Gaza, there is no occupation of Gaza. There is no illegal occupation of Gaza. There is no condemned illegal occupation of Gaza. This is a false talking point. There is a blockade that is in place because of Hamas. That's it.
You asked me your position, and then you've
Well, he tried to
misquoted.
answer, but once again, you shouted over him. So
Do you
people
agree
can't
with
hear
him?
the answer.
Wait a minute, do you agree with him?
What about whether I agree with him or not?
Do you agree with him?
Let the man
Why are you
answer
running
your
away
question.
from this? Do you agree with the
You ask a
legitimacy
question
of
and you
occupation?
shout over the answer.
Is it okay for one country to occupy
That's
another
true.
sovereign nation? Is it okay or
Do you
not?
know what is okay? I've had
Yes
enough
or
of
no?
this.
There we
done.
go.
Oh, you give up?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
okay.
exhausted.
You give up? You've been humiliating me so strong. I'm embarrassed for you. I made you give up with my stupidity.
Break and a cup of tea. Alan, thank you for your patience. I asked you to have
My
a civilized
pleasure.
debate. You tried,
Thank you for
despite,
being- thank you
despite
for being
extreme
fair.
provocation,
Of course.
on a very personal and ill-informed way, you have managed to be civilized. Mohammed,
I'm
wish
sure
you
you're
could
going to
say
say
the
that.
same.
Well, he's your friend. He's a good friend.
I appreciate
I like
that.
Alan. I
Because he's
respect
got dirt
Alan.
on you.
Sure you do.
And you, Mohammed, let yourself down today. That's
I
okay.
think you let yourself down.
I'm sure the people that follow you on
He's a monster.
cheering you on.
He's a monster.
No, he's not.
He's not. Okay.
No, he's not.
Okay, he defended a monster. Do you agree
The only
with that?
person who's behaved
Did he defend the
the
monster?
only person who's behaved in a monstrous way in this debate.
Okay, whatever. That's
is
your
you.
opinion. That's your
Is
opinion.
you.
You've given up this debate.
No, I've actually
You've
run
thrown
out of
in-
time. We're
I
running 2.5
defended the
minutes over
Both given
Constitution,
up.
and
You
I
were,
will
as you
continue
know,
to
you were
do
booked
so.
till 5 o'clock. It is 5:03.
I didn't even know
We've
that.
actually run out of time.
Fantastic.
But we've also booked to debate something that you've rarely spent much time on debating, because you were far too busy scoring personal cheap little jibes, ill-informed jibes. at the other
You
person
do.
we're debating with.
It's good.
You
What's
know,
good
when
for
I
the
think-
goose is not
and
good
I
for the
always think-
gander.
and I always think
What's
when
good for the goose?
I always
This is actually good. This is actually good. A little ending here with Piers telling Mohammed Hijab what he actually thinks, and then of course Hijab ran out and said, "Oh, I humiliated them both. It was 2-on-1."
I actually feel bad for Piers at this point. Like, I imagine how he
I
felt
He
when
invited him on. It is
I know, but-
embarrassing, like losing control like this your complete inability. In fact, I mean, it may be one of the reasons for having Hijab back on. Like, maybe I figured out how I can control him. I'll put a nice, calm lawyer on one side, and I'll remind him, hey, we want an actual discussion, and we'll make it about Israel. And maybe Hijab wants to actually make a point at some point. Wrong.
He did say
Wrong.
He said, "I will not invite him back." That's what he said on Twitter. I would imagine if in the future he might make the mistake of thinking of getting an apology or an explanation from Mohammed Hijab and saying, "Okay, how about let's try this again? Maybe we can figure this out." And then he will get the very same thing, and then eventually he will say, "Okay, never, never, never again."
can't handle it. You can dish it out, but you can't take it.
Oh, I can.
You got a weak chin.
I can take anything, son.
You got a heavy punch, but a weak jaw.
I always think when people get personal and abusive like you
and
have,
him,
it's because they can't argue the argument.
You're both weak.
Because they can't argue the argument.
Whatever.
So people who can't win an argument, the normal way of debating,
you've just run away from this
ad
debate.
hominem attacks, personal abuse.
That's true.
What you've done.
I think.
Personal attacks and personal abuse. If you don't think you could win an argument, you resort to personal attacks and abuse. What did Hijab do the entire time? Personal attacks and abuse. Why? Think, if Hijab actually thought he could win a debate on Israel and Palestine and Iran and everything else with Alan Dershowitz, why would he not have shocked us all by actually doing it? The fact that he came out and from his opening words, did nothing but try to derail the discussion and focus on personal attacks shows from before he even started, he thought he was outmatched. Before he even started, he knew that he would lose and therefore had to do something else. This is
given up on this debate. I think you've
and you let yourself down, Mohammed.
I think you have both given up because you realised that what you were spewing was false, and you were talking about the pager attack, and you said about it that was an act of military brilliance. I'm sure if it happened here in Sainsbury's and a little white boy was killed, you wouldn't say that, would you?
You know what?
Like you've also let down the Palestinian people. You've also let down the Palestinian people.
He has let down the Palestinian people.
Whatever. I think you both let yourself down. I think you both given up.
Okay.
And I think the standing 10 count has been done. And I think the white towel has been thrown in.
Yeah.
And I think the people can judge what I've done today.
Okay. You know what? On that, I think we can all agree.
Yeah.
People can watch your performance in the last hour.
And look at Dershowitz. He's smiling. I mean, he thinks this is hilarious. He thinks this is hilarious. Hijab has his ordinary smug look on his face, but Dershowitz just knows. Okay, Hijab's crowd, yes, they're going to go, oh, him strong, him so strong. To any sane person who's watching this who isn't a complete moron, they're looking at this going, whoa, that's what happens when you bring a Muslim on to actually have a coherent discussion on something. They act like this. Whoa. Anyway, just a couple more seconds left and it's done.
They can judge accordingly. And let me tell you, Mohammed, they will. Thank you for being
here. Watch
Hijab
go for the last word.
I appreciate you coming in. Alan, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Oh, I thought he was going to yell something at the end because this is what he does. Oh, man.
So we skipped some points, but I think there was a part that I saw in a clip where he says to Piers, why you got tears in your eyes? Why you cry?
Oh yeah,
why you got
that was somewhere in the middle. Yeah, we got tears in your eyes.
It's fantastic, man. Seriously, very, very good job. Although I would like to see more Mohammed Hijab on Piers Morgan on topics such as child marriage, for example. I'm very, very happy and pleased with the fact that Piers, after the third time of inviting him, concluded, okay, no, we're not doing this again, not having this guy on again. I'm really happy about that result, and I'm also very happy about the fact that Mohammed Hijab is here presenting Islam and the pro-Palestinian position in such a horrible way that the average viewer who is not a Muslim or an idiot watches this and thinks, this is really, really, really stupid and really annoying and really bad. In fact, there was one thing that was actually satisfying to me, and I was a little bit surprised. I even saw pro-Palestine people on Piers Morgan's post saying, Piers, this guy is making us look bad. Piers, I am pro-Palestine. Piers, I am anti-Israel. But why would you invite this guy on?
Mm-hmm. And seriously, I mean, if you're on the free Palestine side and you're convinced that there are all kinds of important points that need to be up for discussion and that need to be ironed out and that Israel needs to be condemned and so on, and then this is what you get, why wouldn't you be like, gosh, man, are you serious? Are you serious? This is who you got?
Maybe
stuff.
Piers Morgan is trying to help the pro-Israel side by inviting people like
right?
this.
Yeah, invite the like most chest thumping people on the planet, and it might be Pierce's 4-dimensional chess. Take a couple of super chats, ladies and gentlemen, and then since Jeffrey Epstein got brought up so much, we'll close out with Mohammed having a little chat with Jeffrey Epstein. Tarun, stop talking about veganism. Thank you, Goat Hub, for that. You said what everyone wants to say. Tarun says one is YouTuber and the other is politician seculars. Why the non-stop talk about veganism, Tarun? Why? He's talking about a YouTuber vegan and another politician vegan. Tarun. with some eggplant recipes. Please hit me up with some eggplant recipes. Ayatollah. Speaking of Tarun, Jimmy Carter is a vegetable. That's messed up, man. That's messed up. That's not funny at all, man. That's not even slightly funny. Every male in my family, with one exception, one grandfather, died at 50. This guy lived to be 100, double the lifespan of almost everyone in my family. You guys are sitting here making fun of it. Messed up. Dershowitz is him, my Carter, cause he's crushing it.
That was funny.
Let's see. Polyev is Oh, hey, you check this out. That's that French dude, Pierre. Gosh, why couldn't he have a different name, man? Why? Why couldn't he have a different name? Pierre Poilievre is polling, you see this? Polling to be the next Canadian PM with potentially a supermajority government. Definitely not on the way out. I know you talked about this before, but I had to clear it up. I didn't say he's on his way out. What are you talking about? I don't trust governments. I think if you have some base dude who could be a leader, I think people will do something to derail that, like Hijab derailing a debate. What?
Now I'm looking at the polls. What happened here? Conservative Party Canada, Pierre Poilievre is at 42.8% compared to Justin Trudeau at 22%.
When's the election? How far is it away?
I don't know. Never cared about Canada.
Like, is it
cares about Canada?
Is it like next month or is it like next year or something?
Probably sometime within the next 10 years.
Guys, when is the Canadian? Hey, Chance Schofield says it's pronounced Poilievre. No. I heard someone pronounce it Poilievre. So in your face. Let's see. But to be fair, I only heard one person pronounce it. What?
It's Poilievre.
Oh, the
That's
little
Poilievre.
Poilievre. Why have a stupid name? Get someone with a better name. Peer-reviewed is Mohammed Hijab's favorite phrase. Not kidding. Peer-reviewed. If the trajectory continues as it is with the peer review. David AP just used foul language, and I am showing this at Tuesday night church in front of the youth group. And AP dropping F-bombs. I've just been kicked out of Pastor Randy's Monster Truck Taco Tuesday youth group due to foul language. Thanks a lot, AP. Everyone complaining about AP's language derailing everything. Defamation upon one another. That's what they do, Mojab. Hijab landed Douglas Murray a pro bono defense lawyer. That would be funny if Dershowitz is just like, I'm taking all these defamation cases. I'm taking them all. Pro bono. He should be the lawyer for Cambridge to sue Hijab and his dad for the fake degrees they gave out using Cambridge's name.
If you said anything to me, I didn't hear you because I just muted you for a second to listen to Pierre to hear him pronounce his name properly. And he explained, he said in the Anglophone way, it would just be the wrong way, but the easy way, which would be Poilievre. The correct way in French is Poilievre. Poilievre.
Is that the same with the Louvre? Like, is it the Louvre? Yeah. Is it the Louvre?
Yeah.
Louvre?
It's not the R. It's a R. It's good.
Poilievre. Not happening.
Poilievre.
This is why Muslims will always fail as a civilization? So you missed when we were talking about you and all the trouble people had. People were showing this to youth groups and stuff like that in churches, and how you dropped the F-bomb and ruined their entire services and all the kids are traumatized. You missed all that? Mm-hmm. Hey, look at this. Gray says, you skipped all the parts where they discussed all the high-level ideas.
Right.
And then Mossad is the leather strap of Hezbollah balls. That is correct. And Rajid here, keep exposing Islam. Love the work you guys do. Thank you, Rajid. Yep, we will definitely do that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, and just because Epstein came up, and the comparison between Epstein and Mohammed was such an important issue, because since Mohammed Hijab considers Jeffrey Epstein such a monster, we can't leave out how Prophet Muhammad would compare.
But
Jeffrey Epstein.
Vinegraft in the chat said there is also another way of calling that guy, of referring to him. Pierre Polier. It's Pee.
Are you seriously still on that topic?
Yeah.
Why is everything about pee-pee with you?
Somebody said.
By popular demand, ladies and gentlemen.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Mohammed's Boom Boom Room, where all of my guests either agree with me completely or they go boom. I am your host, the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon me. And with me now is a man after my own heart. He is Jeffrey Epstein.
Prophet Muhammad, let me say what an honor it is to be here. You, sir, are a legend.
What do you mean I'm a legend? Whenever I share my latest revelations with the pagans, they say I'm just plagiarizing their legends. Are you saying I'm some sort of a fable?
No, I mean legend in the good sense. You know, you're the GOAT.
A goat? You mean like the goat that ate parts of the Quran that were lost forever? Or like Abu Bakr's third wife?
No, GOAT stands for greatest of all time.
Oh, yes. I am the greatest man of all time.
I mean, you're the greatest at what we do.
What we do? You mean because you're a fill-her-up artist?
That's philanthropist.
Full-on rapist?
Philanthropist.
I've heard it both ways. But please, tell me more about why I'm so great.
Well, all of the great men like us, we spend our entire lives trying to get away with what we do, and eventually we get caught, and we go to prison, but not you. You got away with it.
You know what they say. It ain't a crime if you're the one receiving the revelations.
Powerful.
I thought I'd be safe because I recorded secret videos of all the powerful and famous people who were molesting girls with me on my airplane, the Lolita Express, and on my private island, Pedo Paradise Island. But my plan didn't work. I still got locked up.
You should have done what I did. You should have started your own religion and told your followers the molesting girls is halal.
Start my own religion. Tell my followers that molesting girls is halal. Say, speaking of religion, I saw your interview with that lucky old man who always has little kids sitting on his lap.
You mean Santa Claus?
Sure, or as I like to call him, the man with the best job in the world, am I right? But during that last episode, didn't you become a Christian?
Well, that was before I realized who Jesus Christ really was.
You mean you didn't know that Jesus Christ was the founder of Christianity?
No, I mean I didn't realize at the time that Jesus Christ was a Jew.
Oh.
Plus, I figured out that if I converted to Christianity, I'd be violating my own rules against leaving Islam. I'd have to execute myself for apostasy.
Kill yourself?
Peace be upon me.
Wow. Suicide. Have you ever thought about it? You know, killing yourself?
Thought about it? I tried to kill myself a bunch of times.
Yeah, he did.
Whenever something goes wrong, I try hurling myself off a cliff. But every time I head up the mountain, the angel Gabriel shows up and chokes me until I change my mind.
That's true.
Sounds like the angel Gabriel is your own personal suicide watch.
Oh, yes. By the way, since you're locked up and facing life in prison, maybe you should be on suicide watch.
Me? No, I would never commit suicide. Never. Not in a million years. Don't need to. I'm rich. I can buy anything. Did you know I once sent myself 3 12-year-old French girls as a birthday present?
12-year-olds? Ah, so you like older women.
Well, most of my victims are from 14 to 16 years old.
Most of my victims are dead.
Are you serious?
Well, I once beheaded somewhere between 600 and 900 Jews. Can you imagine beheading so many people that you lose count?
Oh man, why did you do that?
2 main reasons. 1, they were Jews. And 2, they were Jews!
What do you have against Jews?
Good question.
My sword, usually.
But I'm Jewish.
Say what now?
Well, yeah. I mean, I was born in Brooklyn. My last name is Epstein. I'm very Jewish.
So you're a Jew?
I'm as kosher as Christmas.
That's it! I mean, I'm totally okay with you being a full-on rapist.
Philanthropist.
But what I absolutely will not tolerate is having a Jew in the boom boom room. Allahu!
Whoa, 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 whoa. Prophet Mo, let's not do anything hasty. I have some information that could be very valuable to you. Listen, if you agree not to Allahu Akbar me, I can give you a list of names of the men who...
Hey! She's choking him! Is that the angel Gabriel? I know he likes to choke. Welcome back! Sorry about the brief technical problems with the camera. We have some breaking news in the Boom Boom Room. It seems that Jeffrey Epstein has just killed himself. And this just in, I'm being told to abrogate the video footage of my discussion with Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know why they think I know how to abrogate footage. I mean, I don't even know how to read. Wait a minute. I do know one way to abrogate things. It's the Islamic way. Allahu Akbar!
Wow. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the true story of the tragic end of Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. AP didn't make it. AP disappeared along with Jeffrey. R. Kelly had teens. Mohammed had pre-adolescent girls. Prepubescent. Prepubescent. He had a prepubescent wife. That's true. That's true. That's true. All right, guys. Hey, if anyone wants that episode of Mohammed's Boom Boom Room, that's over on the Polemics channel, Act 17. Polemics. Act 17. Polemics. Glad you all joined us. I wish we could have learned more about different perspectives on the situation in the Middle East. Instead, we got a powerful lesson about dawah. We got more lessons about dawah, what it is. Dawah is deception. Dawah is delusion. Dawah is distraction. That's what dawah is. And now dawah got AP. All right, guys. Catch you all next time. I don't know what AP planning for the rest of the week. Should have a video up sometime tomorrow morning. We'll see what happens. All right. Catch you all next time.